We're joined by Dan Jackson, head football coach.
Oh, look at my man.
For your South Dakota State Jackrabbits. Coach, what's going on?
I'm doing great. Sorry I was a couple minutes late. I was watching the boys run today. So conditioning this morning. Now they're getting a little bit of football 101. So Alvano's out here kicking 60-yarders in the indoor.
Dude, he's got a hammer. I'm telling you, if you get his mind right, he is a nice little weapon because he's got range for days.
No, he's healthy now. He's confident. You know, you could feel that he feels valued and believed in. So he just walked by, so you guys just missed him. But I'll let you know if he's making or missing any. But,
you know, he's gonna be like, "What's up, DB?" And he's gonna say, "I love that guy." And I'm gonna.
Yeah. He didn't know I was joining you guys, so hey. I'll let him know you guys will have him on at some point. He's got to make some kicks first, though.
He's a prime example, Coach, of what it means to have somebody just ride with him, right? If you rock with him and he knows that you've got his back, he's sensational.
No, I agree. That's all the players, but especially even the specialists too. Sometimes
kickers are weird.
Yeah, the specs can get pushed to the side sometimes, or not feel as valued. So you got to love up the specialists. They're critical to success. So no, I'm fired up that he's here. The guys are working hard. Good conditioning session today.
You know, he played scout team quarterback. He could play wide receiver. That dude is fast for a specialist.
I didn't know that. You used to play scout team quarterback. You're not still doing that, are you?
No, we don't see Millard North in the single wing as much, so I'm a lot healthier. Although the last time was like 2022 when we played North Platte. I got ran over by Bo Ryan. That was about sent me into retirement.
I used to feel bad for our players, man. You just crushed their confidence. They couldn't get you.
It is what it is. I try.
That was a couple years ago.
It's good to see you out and amongst the living, man. Double dipping, man. You got to be living your best life right now because I know you love training in the off season.
Oh, I love it. This is my favorite. Yeah, this is the off season is so much fun. Being able to stack days with them. I believe that to have your staff in the weight room with the players and staff at workouts means a lot to them too, and it helps us from an evaluation standpoint, how they're moving, how they're working. Who do we need to push, challenge, encourage, and then get some leadership going at it too. So yeah, our staff's at all the workouts in the mornings, and then we dive into what we need to in the afternoon. But I have just never been one of those guys that can be upstairs working on the computer while the boys are down here training. I want to be in the thick of it with them.
Talking a little bit about you want to win where you're at, and that's first and foremost for you.
Yeah, you want to win, and then, it's just making sure that resource-wise that you're going to be in a situation to do that, whichever league that you're in. And then the last thing I would say on that, guys, is college football is not done realigning. I could see FBS teams moving to FCS for resource standpoints. I could see more FBS teams making some moves. And then I could also see a world where the top 40 or 50 schools are playing for a different championship, and there's a group of 6 national title, and that would be where we would want to live.
Hey, let me ask you something. Just knowing your personality, how nimble have you had to become navigating this thing versus how nimble are you that because you've learned to be that way?
Yeah, I think what I've learned is you better stay on your toes, and you better be able to adjust and adapt and not let it frustrate you. And then this past year, I've learned it at a really high level. I've put it into effect, I guess. I mean, I feel like every day sometimes being a head coach is putting out a fire every 2 hours, that you didn't know was going to start. So, and there could be big fires and small ones, but I think I've actually enjoyed that and finding solutions and being able to think ahead to part of being nimble, as you mentioned. Damon is trying to, what's going to happen in 6 months, what's going to happen in a year, 2 years. And having some anticipation, whether it's at your university and program or just with how college football has changed. You can see that the guys that have stayed on their toes and adapted are going to be able to have some success. And there's some guys that's a bigger challenge for or choosing not to do it.
And I know you think the world of him, but how much of it has to do with the fact you have such a good relationship and you trust your athletic director the way you do?
That's critical. I talk to Justin every day.
Yeah.
And he's in the thick of it. We don't have I don't have a deputy AD working with football. Our athletic director is the one that's hands-on with football in every way. So, there's not one thing that goes on on in our program that he doesn't want to know about, help with, and help build. And then there hasn't been many things that Justin's done that haven't worked out. I mean, he's got a pretty great track record, and then him being here for as long as he's been is impressive too. His consistency, he's kind of seen it all.
I tell you what, man, cost of live or a living arrangement and some groceries, man. I'd work for cheap, man, to be that deputy. I'd be the best in the business for very, very low amounts of peanuts. So,
yeah, Brookings community would bring you in too. You would have to pay for nothing, man. That's what our coaches get: free coffee, free haircuts. Some people want raises. I get the coaches free coffee, free haircuts, free lunches, and a gym membership, man. You know,
ooh, the gym membership. Now we're talking.
Yeah, they embrace the staff. Yeah, I got a hot yoga studio, Be Well, that would take you in for free. So, no,
man,
I'm thinking more chief of staff.
I'll always trade for budgeted items.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I'm thinking more chief of staff, though. That way we could just we got offices next to each other. That sounds like a dream.
Yeah, let's get it.
Didn't know that hot yoga was a budgeted item for you there, DB.
Listen, I just like to be fit, man. You see the So you're navigating this landscape. You're waiting on a couple of things roster-wise. You're trying to understand how money is going to be allocated. How much of your day do you get to just do ball?
Very little right now. Now I'm trying to. This season, I'm putting in all this legwork now until spring ball to make sure that during spring ball I can just fully lock in and engage. And the big thing with me is I want to make sure that our team has a clear identity. And sometimes as a coordinator or an assistant coach, you're worried about a position room's identity or side of ball. But for us to win a national championship and find our highest level, I've got to make sure that I'm the driver of how all three phases of the game work together. So spring ball, I'm going to really invest in the offense. I'm going to be in every offensive meeting. I'm going to be helping them script and game plan and try to, push the defense every day. And then when spring ball's over, then I'm going to dive fully in on the defense. I feel like we've got that in a solid spot now. Last year it was maybe 5% though, was actual football DB. And then now I'm hoping to get to be a little bit more of a, 30% of my day type of thing. I need to do it, and our team needs me to be the one driving that. So it's just, as I said, there's something that comes up every hour that you may or may not have been expecting, or something that needs to get done, and it's all time sensitive,
Yeah.
Coach, you mentioned the goal of winning a national championship there, and that kind of brings me to one of the things I wanted to bring you back to talk about, and that's coaching at a place with expectations. It's a very different kind of monster than going to a place like, and this is no hate on Vandy, but going to Vandy is different for what they want out of their football program than going to an SDSU or even a Nebraska and what they want out of their football program. How much does that affect not necessarily your decision making, but how your decision making is perceived around the football program?
No, I tell kids in recruiting, you can go a lot of places, but you want to go somewhere where when you run out, you put in all this work, you run out of the tunnel, there's 20,000 people, it's a sold out crowd. You want to go somewhere where people are tweeting about you and writing articles about you, and you're on the news every day. And that don't buy into that as pressure, buy into that as a blessing that people care about what you're doing and let it drive you. So I would say running a program that way, it's a little natural to me, Ravi, because when we got to Burke High School years ago, what you mentioned Vandy, was the same thing. I mean, it wasn't a great program, but the expectations that you put on yourself better be higher than the expectations put on you by others. And so at South Dakota State, I understand that if we lose a game here, it's a really big deal, and if we win a big game here, it's a really big deal. That's what's awesome about college football, and what I'd never want to lose is, these kids and our staff are going through the highest of highs and the lowest of lows together. And that's what creates memories that last you for your entire lifetime. I mean, to be somewhere where a loss isn't that big of a deal and a win, isn't that big of a deal, that would be challenging for me to get motivated every morning. I love that. I approached like this morning's workout. How we did in this morning's workout is going to dictate how we play in the fall. It's not, there's just a level of urgency, Ravi, that we have to carry ourselves with, that we would regardless, but certainly our fan base, our administration, everybody that supports us is going to hold us to a high standard. But I can promise you this: you're not going to set a higher standard than our players and our staff have for each other. And that's when you operate like that, it's a little bit easier. So it's the internal expectation that you put on your team and your program that matter. And then you need to get them to buy in and believe it. That's what's happened at Vanderbilt. Clark always set high expectations. He talked about winning national championships 3 years ago. Well, this 11-win season they had doesn't happen if the internal expectations weren't, set to a high enough bar.
The financial commitment to Jared Curtis. When you were there, would you have ever thought?
No. We didn't have NIL when I was there. We literally didn't have. We may have one player that was earning any sort of NIL just 3 years ago at Vanderbilt, and then to see where they've grown it now has been incredible. And you land a guy like Diego to come in and change the landscape for sure, and the facility upgrade, and Clark to be consistent. And what you find is you win some games, and you bring in some really talented players. You get buy-in from the community, and that's kind of what I'm saying is if you wait for your community to be the one that's setting the standard, it's not going to happen. You need to create it. South Dakota State's standards and expectations.
Say that again for the folks in the back, Coach Jack. Say that again, please.
Yeah, I'm just telling you that the internal if you want to wait for your fans to get excited about what you're doing and have that be what defines your program and your culture, that you're going to be waiting for a long time. If you set the standards and the bar high and the expectations, the fans will follow. So you've seen that at Vandy. All of a sudden they sell out games. Well, it's because they see a team that believes and is winning football games. That's why this didn't happen overnight. When I was here in 2012, we had 4,000 or 5,000 people at the games. We had an old beat-up stadium, and you know what we had? We had guys for about 10, 15 years just building and grinding and putting in the work behind the scenes, and then you start seeing the byproduct of winning on the field, and now you have sellouts. Now you have expectations. So create your own expectations by the success you have, the work you put in.
Man, I'm watching you. I'm just going to go back to Nashville, right? I'm watching you coach, and we're having these sidebar conversations about building culture and players arguing about pennies, right? This just a little bit, and I'm not getting anything. And I'm like, you're having these conversations. You just want to coach ball. 3 years later, it's you're building a culture, or at least trying, from what I hear, to get out in front of that, where it becomes a hard place to leave. Not a place that you need to pay to have people attracted to.
No, exactly. Operate out of position of strength. For us, I'm really blunt and I'm direct with our players on the expectations. You mentioned the financial, things. The one thing our players don't question is that, because they understand this is a meritocracy just like the world. So nobody's surprised that you have to produce to earn NIL money at South Dakota State, or you need to produce to get your face on a billboard on I-29, or you got to produce to have people, interested in what you're doing. They understand that. So you come in, you work, you earn everything that you get, and when you earn it, nobody will treat you better. Nobody will fight harder to reward you for that than I will. And so, our locker room, these guys are going to be talking about how hard the workout was and what classes they got and who's coming back for extra work in the indoor later, and who wants to watch some more film. And our guys are worried about that. They understand that if they produce and they put in the work, they're going to get taken care of to the best of my ability. And then people respect that and love it. And if they see themselves getting better and pushed and challenged, then they stay with you too. So, it is a blessing to come work with these guys. There's not a better group of guys to coach than what we have here, and that's going to be the goal, to always keep it that way.
Coach, so you talk about trying to set this culture and guys that kind of have the mindset of like, hey, everything's a meritocracy, you got to go out and earn it. How much of that do you find is, hey, I got to recruit some guys that's just how they're wired, versus, hey, I can mold certain guys and teach them to believe a certain way?
I'll be honest with you. I think it's really hard. We get these guys at 18, and you can definitely, and it's something I'm passionate about, is improve and change somebody's life for the better through challenging them and mentoring them and being truthful with them. But, you have to recruit somebody that's also, Coach Stig would say, has a heart of good soil, somebody that's going to take the coaching and be mentored. And I want guys that want feedback, desire feedback, want a coach that's hard on them and critical of them, and isn't going to be sensitive. So if you recruit guys that are open to feedback and they're going to take it as constructive, and they're going to look at the harder coach is on me, that's actually a byproduct of how much he loves me. That he's showing me how much he loves me by how hard he is on me. And when you recruit those type of players, then you're able to mold them, Ravi. But if you're going to recruit guys that don't like feedback or very defensive or sensitive, to coaching, then it's nearly impossible to mold them. So this has been built over time. This isn't something that I just came here and I'm trying to take it further than it's ever been. But our players actually understand this type of mindset because it's what's been here before.
One of the things I would consider, just from experience, is strength, and I know you have it because we were together, basically, is whether you were driving or I was driving. How applicable is it in 2026 that, like in 2008, we're trying to get kids to play, to love the game, to balance family dynamics and what's going on in their personal life, to make sure that the field is a place of peace where it's not an extension of that, right? I know you still kind of recruit like that, but it started in its roots with players significantly younger than what you're dealing with now. Is the blueprint roughly the same 12 years later? Or
it's the same. You gotta
later.
I told you guys last time, love of football and competitiveness are guys that we're looking for, but you're right. When somebody loves what they're doing and it brings them joy, then this is where they want to be during a hard day or a tough day. They know they can come into your office and talk about it, but our blueprint is going to be when you step across the white lines, everything that we're doing is focused, and it is focused on improvement, and it is focused on challenging and confronting, and it is that's where it turns into like their sanctuary. I think that's got to be the blueprint. DB football's become now another stressor for somebody that already may have a ton of stress in their life, whether it's financial stress or pressure or pressure to perform or making the NFL or what other people think about me or say about me on social media if I drop a pass or miss a tackle. So what used to be a world of happiness and peace and joy for players, now if you're not fostering the right type of locker room and environment for them to be in, it's another stressor, where for us, I want this to be the happiest place that they're at. And, how do you see that? It manifests, and I see it coming out every day on how many guys are just back here. They go to class. We had guys going to class yesterday and coming back to get more core work in the weight room or more field work in the indoor, catch jugs machines or whatever it may be. So, here, I think that's another reason why our players stay is they're not looking for a job, and they're not looking for to be treated like an employee. They're still looking for, to be fulfilled by the love of the game. And also the locker room that you're in and the people that you're surrounded by, make it enjoyable. And I can't tell you how many kids are even in our offices all the time, whatever it's making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or just checking in on their coach. I think you can see that culture every day by how often your players are around and want to be around.
Coach, so I've got this thing in my head, right? So you've probably had this situation play out with the transfer portal and being a high-profile FCS program. I'm sure you have had guys of a talent level that is just not accessible to you coming out of high school want to come to your program at some point. How hard is it, if their mentality is not what you're talking about, to say no to that level of talent if it's not matched up with what you think they can be from a culture standpoint? Because, I see you smiling there. This is a thing that gets a lot of coaches.
It does. It's not hard for me, but it is hard for – I am never going to buy in to there's really talented player maybe that's out there, and if you have evidence that person doesn't fit your culture, it's nothing personal on that player. I just don't see the value in that, and I will never buy into that there's not another kid out there that has the same talent level but does fit. That kid exists. It just takes a little bit maybe more work to find, and sometimes people look for the easy way out in recruiting. Hey, this guy's really talented and he's gettable, and I know he doesn't quite fit, but you'll talk yourself into taking a player, and I would say 95% of the time you end up being let down by the talented guy that doesn't love football anyway. And so it's interesting to me. I'd rather put in a little bit of extra work, whether it's developing them when they get here or to identify them in the process. And then you got to trust your gut too. Talent, I want to see production along with talent, and so a guy that was a 4 or 5 star. We played a kid at Sacramento State, Hurrdat was his name, a quarterback, and I think he was a 5-star, and he played at all these places. And so externally, you could say, well, that's a really talented player. We need to take Hurrdat. I would say turn the film on, and I don't care about the star rating out of high school or that he was at Georgia or whatever. That doesn't even matter at this point. We're 3 years away from that, removed. So what's the production? And then I just think there's better players out there now. I will tell you this, Ravi, there's better high school players out there than ever before. So it is amazing and saddening a little bit to me on how many 2026 kids are out there with nowhere to go in mid-February that are high level talented guys. And so we'll go to those guys if we need to, because you can find the talent and the fit there. I just believe, Ravi, that you can find guys that are really talented that do fit and do have mindset. I'm not going to buy into kids these days are just different or any of that type of thing. You just gotta find the right guys, and then I have no problem bringing somebody into our culture that's not perfect. I mean, I'm not talking about perfection. I'm just talking about the desire to be coached and get better. So, if I've coached and recruited many of players that may have had some issues or some baggage, and then I do get passionate about helping them grow and change as men. So I don't want to come across that we only recruit perfect people. I just want you to love football and care about it and listen to what I'm saying and be open to that. And that comes through building relationship with them too. But I don't know. I go with my gut on those type of guys for the most part. But if I have too much information that says they're not going to be a fit, I don't want to bring them here, because our players would run them out here before I'd ever did.
It's so funny. At the start of that question, I can see you laugh. We're so much. I know Rice tells me this all the time. Like he thinks we're a lot alike in our delivery, our philosophy. He did say you're a little more direct. I said, well, Dan's a little more mean-spirited than I am, but we think the same. I'm listening to you Ravi ask about basically it's what you will and won't compromise. If there's anything I know about you, because you've said it to me, whether we're talking offense, deep, you don't have any problem saying no. Like I don't think that's anything we have to worry about with you trusting your own gut to say no. But we just had a conversation a couple weeks ago where you were ready to say no, and I'm practically like, hey man, like hang in there, right?
Well, yeah. First on
I just know how you're wired.
Yeah, Tyler Rice sees me at my best and my worst at times. So Tyler sits in my office half the time, and sometimes the best way to help somebody grow is you got to be direct with them. So Tyler he hears me venting quite a bit, so he knows me as good as anybody. But
like, oh my God, I have the same mannerisms and the same sayings.
He tells me that too. But I would say, I think sometimes like if you're going to be a good recruiter, your job is to get a lot of good information, and it's to get somebody to open up and call coaches and their high school coaches and their trainers and their mom and their dad and do all that. So most of the time you should be looking for a reason to say no. That's kind of part of it, and kids should be doing that in recruiting too. When they go on junior days, it's not about putting on the jersey. It's about they should be trying to find a reason to poke holes in what I'm saying or doing and ask hard questions, and then get all the information and make a decision. So, no, I think if you're going to take 25 kids a year, I mean, why not be really thorough with it and make sure that you get the right 25? And then it also, when you get the right guys, it sets up for easier conversations when you're here. If you recruit the wrong guys a bunch, then you have a bunch of tough conversations and awkward moments while the players are on your team. So
people wonder why we have 6 parent meetings. We have 6 parent meetings, so we have a clear line of communication. That's why we don't have a lot of problems in season.
Hey, I don't know if you guys were wanting other guests today, but my guys just got done throwing. So
A-Train, what's up, buddy?
What up, DB?
So you're live. Don't say anything crazy.
Oh, don't worry. We're on non-terrestrial radio, and I know you cuss like a sailor, so it's okay. How you been?
How you been? He said.
I've been good. It's been a good
You look
trip.
good.
Appreciate you.
How was conditioning today? Was it tough?
Yeah, it was definitely a little bit tough. I don't know if it was hard as the crossfields. Crossfields got me last week.
Crossfields are tough.
Hey, what are you doing with muscles? Can you still model with muscles, or do you have that part of the magazine down?
So you got some muscles now. I'll let him go I'll let him get some breakfast and go to class.
All right, A-Train.
All right. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, buddy.
Hey, listen, be honest. How good of a guy is he?
No, he's awesome. He's awesome.
He is sensational.
Yeah, they just got done throwing in the indoor. So Tuesdays they get conditioning in, and then we do football 101s. You know, not to get off topic, but that's one of the most fun things about the off season is breaking down all your systems and fundamentals and techniques. That's one thing I'd love to talk to you guys about is more ball. But the off season is fun to I'm live. There's I'm on an interview. That's our quarterback right there. Say what's up. You're on TV. So this
what's up, big dog? How's it going?
Yeah, Chase Mason's our starting quarterback here. He's pretty special one. So
yeah, NFL bound Chase Mason. Did you get the ruling?
Yeah, he's good to go. He is good to go.
So you're living your best life.
Yeah, he got his 6th year of eligibility, and so he'll be back ready to go and having a good off season. So, but no, the off season is so much fun to be able to get him in the weight room and bigger, faster, stronger. But I challenged our coaches to tear down everything that we did and build it back up. And it's not that anything was wrong; it's that you become a better coach when you start from ground zero in January every year.
Hey, can I ask one more question?
You can ask as much as you want.
It's football related.
Yep.
Knowing that he's back in the fold now, and you're seeing all the hype and the buzz that Cole Payton is getting, and they're very similar in some of their attributes: big, strong, fast. Does the offense change a little now?
Yeah, I would say the offense is wide open now. We've got it's amazing. I look out here, and a year ago we had 53 players healthy enough to work out that were on the team. And we had 101 guys running out here today. And so not just having a quarterback that's got the experience and talent level that he has is a game changer. You can run it, throw it, whatever. But he's got some really good pieces around him. And I see a really, a football team that has a lot of depth and in all three phases. So it's a lot of fun. This has been fun. This offseason's awesome.
All the work you put in during the playoffs last year, making sure you were in a good position this year, does it feel worth it now?
It does. At the time, it was kind of wild, and spending as much time on just getting Chase's waiver approved and being able to set a path forward with NIL and transfer portal and sign your players and retain your players and bringing in 17 transfers and 4 early enrollee freshmen. It was a lot, but it's worth it when you get up in the morning and you watch these guys work out. And then we had a team meeting last night where we actually went through our 4 H's, which is cool, something we're doing that Vrabel had done with history, heroes, hardships and heartbreak and hopes. And so we're actually getting to know each other at a deeper level, that's a passion of mine too, is seeing how connected we could get the players.
All right, buddy. Next time I talk to you, we're going to talk about fitting in the run game with split safeties.
Can't wait, dude. Let's talk sim pressures after that. Hey, sorry for being a little bit disjointed and having some of the guys pop on there, but
it's good, man. Always appreciate your time.
All right, see you guys.
Hey, Coach.
Make this the summer event at Edwards Jeep and Ram, Council Bluffs and Village Point. Lease the 2026 Jeep Wrangler Sport S starting at $289 a month. Built for the road and ready for summer. This June, the savings are as big as the season. We've also got the 2026 Ram 1500 Bighorn starting at $399 a month, or finance at 2.9% APR for 72 months. Don't miss this pitch. Slide into savings at Edwards Jeep and Ram, Council Bluffs and Village Point. It's time to slide into savings at Edwards Chevrolet. Lease the 2026 Chevy Trax LT for just $349 a month, $0 down with your first payment due at signing. 2 great Chevys, 1 big June event. Slide into a 2026 Chevy Equinox LT for just $399 a month, $0 down with your first payment due at signing. Get to Edwards Chevrolet today. Together, let's drive.
We are joined now by Ryan Held, head football coach at UNK. Coach, how are we doing this morning?
How we doing? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, good. I'm out here working a camp here at Kearney High School, so helping the Bearcats out a little bit this morning. So.
Oh, nice, man. What do the numbers look like?
Oh, they got good numbers out here. They do. Coach Peters is the new head coach here, and we wish him the best. Coach Cool was a legendary coach here in the state of Nebraska. He retired, and we'll miss him, but I'm excited for Coach Peters and working with him.
Yeah, it's fascinating, man. I was a huge Coach Cool fan. I covered the first state championship he won, and I thought he was like 12 when he won it. I'm trying to work a job in the real world. He looks like a pup.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Raising trophies, and he's retiring, man. That was some run, and such a good person for the community.
There's no question. He's Mr. Kearney. Obviously, he was here a very long time. He'll still be around, and this community was blessed to have him for sure.
Coach, so tell us about these camps that you're doing. I know you said you're at Kearney High now, and you're trying to get some. I know you're trying to get some local groups together to get some exposure for kids. What kind of led to that?
Idea.
Well, for us, and I think I maybe mentioned this before, but we have over 70 Nebraska kids when we start this fall, which is a lot. More than half of our roster are Nebraska kids, and we have 110 Midwest kids. So we're really trying to really get these kids that fit our DNA and, within our footprint. On Monday, we'll be at Millard South, June 1st, and, what we thought we could do, because, when kids go to camps, the mega camp's not a new thing. There's been a million of them, but for these Nebraska kids and regional kids, we thought, all right, well, normally we do it just us. Let's invite Midland, Concordia, Nebraska Wesleyan, Doane. So when a kid comes, maybe we don't think he fits us, but he's got 4 or 5 other coaches that are going to watch him. So now you're going to get multiple exposures, obviously. And, we want to help our Nebraska kids out and give them as much exposure. And we want to help our in-state colleges as much as we can, help that and partner, because, we're all in this trying to help kids. If you're in it for the right reasons, I'm not worried about somebody else wants to go somebody else. That's recruiting. That's the way it is.
Yeah, I love the philosophy, and I think that's what's endeared you to a lot of the guys that I know that are at Kearney. Number one, straightforward. Number two, pretty other-centered when it comes to it being about young people. Been a pleasant surprise working with other coaches that there's still some good, right, where it's like, hey, it's not always just about us. If we start thinking outside the scope, it's going to pay dividends.
Well, there's no doubt. And what are we trying to do? We're always going to start in-state. Well, let's help our in-state kids out, let's start at home, whether it's Omaha, Lincoln, or wherever. It doesn't matter. We're going to do a Lincoln one later on in July. But, let's get as many kids as we can to get them exposure. And what's better than working these camps? Because we will do individual as part of the camp. So these kids will get to work with us at UNK. So these kids get to see how we coach. And then the other coaches get to watch. And so they get the good evaluation. We'll test them as well. But I just think it's a win-win for everybody. If I'm an Omaha kid, I'm coming if I have any aspirations of playing at the next level.
Coach, is you mentioned there, I know we talked about this before about how much of your roster is local, 70 Nebraska kids. Like, when you started out at UNK, was that an intentional thing, or did you just kind of find yourself gravitating towards the kids that Nebraska was producing?
Well, I mean, obviously, I have a endearment for the Nebraska kids, having played at Nebraska and coached at Nebraska. So, I mean, there's always that. But these kids are good players, and they're kids that want to come to work. They want to get an education, and in this world of the transfer portal world, I want these kids that want to come be a part of our program. We play in a great conference. They want to develop, and then we can keep kids 3, 4, 5 years. If you're just a bunch of mercenaries from far, far away, these kids aren't going to stay. I mean, Kearney's a great place, but it's not, Orlando, Florida. And so, I mean, that's what we got to do. And I look at the teams that have won, right, guys, in the region, South Dakota State, right, North Dakota State. Well, what's their footprint? What's their DNA? Well, they get kids within 5 or 6 hours, and those kids stay and develop. We just have to be a program of development. We have great coaches in the state of Nebraska, and we want to take their kids and help them become their best version.
Yeah, it's fascinating because, what I hear, at least in the metro, and maybe people just say nice things to me because they know how much I respect you, but your peer recruiting, like guys that you've recruited that are from the area, say a lot of good things about the recruiting style and what happens when they get there. Have you noticed that it's like, when you do right by kids, they tell other kids, because we already know that from a coaching standpoint, your credentials are proven.
Well, again, Damon, it comes down to what is your why? And, if your why is hopefully for the right reasons to help kids, that's your starting point. What's your mission statement? And, we needed to build the relationship with these Nebraska coaches. I want these coaches to feel confident if they send a kid to Kearney that we're going to take care of him. Not that we're perfect and we can't make everybody succeed, because it comes down to the kid as well. But, I think if you have a culture, which we've worked really hard getting our culture, and culture is such a overused word, I know, but a culture where guys want to come and get a degree and play great football and develop and help us, we help them. It's a win-win situation, but you got to hold people to the standard, and we got to stick to our processes, which, we are. And, we start workouts on Monday with our guys. And you remember, Damon, the old summer days, Boyd Epley and Mike Arthur and all them getting us out there. I mean, that's Coach Osborne used to say, when the summer was over, our season's been decided. We just haven't played the games. And so you want to have as many kids as you can. And those Nebraska kids are going to be here, and the Midwest kids. And like I said, we got to get the right out-of-staters that want to be here.
It's interesting because you're getting, collabing with the other area coaches. You get the sense that the sentiment is same. There's a lot of familiarity. I know a lot of you guys know one another. How long did the idea take to come about? Or was it just like, yep, I see it, count us in?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the first year we've done it. So, we reached out to, example, Jeff Jamrog. We've all known Jeff for a long time. He's done a great job at Midland. So, hey, Jeff, do you want to bring your staff? And here's another opportunity for you to see guys. And then we reached out to other coaches. And, so this year there's 5 or 6. Maybe next year it becomes, 10. We've had other coaches from other states ask if they can come. We've tried to keep it more, in the state of Nebraska, but this thing could blow up to where, Lindenwood has a really good camp where there's a lot of colleges that go there to evaluate those kids. And I'm not trying to make this a Lindenwood, but why not start in the Omaha metro, where huge population, a lot of great players, and then others can come as well, but then you can get evaluated, which again, we're trying to set a platform to help these kids, whether it's with us or with other programs.
Coach, you mentioned the camp here in Omaha on Monday. Is that still open for kids that want to participate?
It is, yeah. They just go to lopercamp.com, and they can still sign up, register or check-ins at 5:30. We'll be out there ready to go, and we'll be testing them out and then getting in Indy, and they get a lot of work. Like this isn't, we're not trying to make it a money grab, which some of these places do just to get money so the coaches can go to Bermuda and have fun, on the beach. We're trying to help these kids, and then they're going to get work. We're going to put them to work. So how about Rhonda Revelle last night, man? God, I went to bed and onions, man. Onions. I love that, Coach. See you later. She's over. So I'm so excited for her. And then Husker baseball, what's today, I think? So anyway, there's my Husker shout out.
Hey,
So.
listen, you know what's crazy about Coach Ravel? We were there at the same time, right? I mean, she's 93,
Oh, yeah.
we were 92.
Oh, I know. It's crazy.
Watching her growth and evolution and just how her play, it's quietly, because we get it, so I say quietly, it's one of the greatest stories. I mean, we're talking year 34, Coach. Like, her growth.
It's
and how
amazing in
it's
today's
incredible.
world that someone could stay that long and want to stay that long, right? Because obviously she's had a lot of successes. I don't know if she's, been trying to get poached at some point, but she decided I'm a Husker through and through the whole, and I'm all in. And here she is reaping the benefits. And I mean, her program, obviously is in great shape. And, I heard her talk about, I mean, just these girls just go to work, man. And it was never over. And I mean, it was just, she's over. We'll see you. So that was big.
Let me ask you something. You've had so many experiences, and I talked, was this Tuesday maybe, where I'm listening to these coaches and their meeting, their conference meetings, and that this market, this isn't sustainable, this methodology isn't sustainable. And I keep hearing all this talk about, hey, just finding guys that love football, competitive stamina, this, that, and the other, and being able to build relationships. It sounds fuddy-duddy and in such a transient, fluid deal. But you got to be telling yourself, if you can make some hay by still good old-fashioned continuing to build relationships, because even guys that are spending millions, Coach Held, are finding out it still boils down to relationships.
Well, in relationships, and again, I'm not in the D1 world, but if I was, yeah, I mean, you're going to recruit a kid that wants this amount of money, but what am I going to do as a coach to help this kid? Because that money is only temporary. All right. Am I going to help you develop? Am I going to help you get, so you understand the game to where this could be long withstanding? Because that money is going to be done, man. And if you don't have the relationship, caring about them, helping them become their best version, helping them develop, I mean, there still is that element of it, even though I know today, and I'm not in that world anymore. But if I was, I mean, it still has to be the relationship. And you know what? You couldn't be afraid of, your ass better get to class. Your butt better be in the weight room, even though you make 10 times what I make. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to hold you to the standard.
Coach, do you think sometimes, you see this at the high school level a lot, right? Where you get a super talented player and you coach them differently because you're afraid of them leaving or you're afraid of them checking out or whatever. Like, do you think we've gotten to the point in whether it's at your guys' level, whether it's at the Division I level, that like just looking at it, are you afraid we might get to that point where some coaches are just feel like they can't coach kids hard because they're afraid of, they're just going to hop in the portal and leave?
I know.
Oh, absolutely. There's no question. There's no question about it. But I can tell you this, when all this thing, came to fruition and it's what it is, I made an executive decision. I'm not going to change who I am. If you don't want to be a part of this because you want to go do it, and I'm not going to walk on eggshells for anybody. You're a part of this program, and I think that's where coaches got to draw the line and be like, you know what? You can't worry about that kind of stuff. This is the world, live in it. These are the waters, live in it. And you can't worry about that kind of stuff. But yes, I do believe that coaches will walk on eggshells, and maybe head coaches are like, hey, listen, be a little bit easy on Johnny. I don't want him to get in the portal. Like, screw that. Like, I mean, screw that. I'm not. I'm not. Go somewhere else, because you know what? We're doing that kid an injustice, right? If we're not holding him to the standard. And then let me tell you, and again, I'm not in that world, but I know that. And Damon, you can relate to this. Like, as a player back then, if we all saw that certain guys had all these different, exceptions and this, that, and the other. I mean, what kind of team are you building? You're building a team of the haves over here can do what they want, and everybody else has another set of rules, and you're never going to win if you have that kind of type of culture.
It's just fascinating because, I look at your roster and then how you recruit it. It's so stinking competitive, and it has to be intentional, because if guys think that they're going somewhere just because it's not someplace else. I love the fact that your culture, and I know you don't love using it, but your culture seems to say, listen, I don't care what level you think you're playing at or where you are. When you're here with us, You're competing every day, and you will get coached hard. It seems like that really helped you out this recruiting cycle with how good of guys you got.
Well, no doubt. And then, just really buying into knowing the type of player that we need. And back to Nebraska, there were kids that we wouldn't recruit because they didn't fit what we wanted to do, right? Well, we know now, I'm now going into year 4, and I've been in the MIAA, which is a great league, obviously. And we know the type of players that we need to get. Early on, we got burned a little bit, because it was maybe, let's take this kid, he's really talented, but let me tell you, when I hit her the butt, she's over. You're out. I'm not dealing with you anymore. Because now I have to make exceptions for you, or you're going to ruin my culture. So these coaches know is ad nauseum. I have to know, what kind of kid is he? What kind of culture guy is he? Does he love football? Is he going to go to class and all that? And then they bet, guys, they come here, and then obviously we have more guys are returning, and they help, facilitate the way we do things.
How many guys have you seen in terms of coaches that have ever been successful long-term taking he's really talented, but guys?
Boy, I'm telling you, it's a low percentage. And listen, trust me, I've been a part of it. So I'm not, there's no,
yeah,
I have done it, but the key is when you've done these type of things, you need to learn from your mistakes. And I've made a million mistakes. We made mistakes at Nebraska, okay, on some kids. But I learned a lot from that experience, even though, whatever and that. And that's really helped me. But even here, we've made mistakes. But now I feel like we're really kind of finding our own. And I think we got a chance to be really good this fall. But, again, you could be really good in the MIAA and be 5-6. But that's what makes it fun. That makes our league fun. I mean, it's the Big Ten, SEC, and Division II, top to bottom.
Yeah, I saw, and I had the unfortunate experience of coaching against him, but because I think he just hit his head on another goalpost. But I saw Colton Tilford at state wrestling, and his frame and his growth and the level of excitement from the competitiveness standpoint, man, you got so many guys like that on your roster that I'm just huge fans of, whether they torched us in high school or I helped coach them in high school. Your ability to recruit, man, it's been fantastic.
Well, and again, I mean, Kearney's a really good spot. And, they come here. We got really good facilities. We have a lot to offer these kids. I mean, don't forget this name, Kyler Lawrenson from Bennington. He redshirted for us. That kid's a freaking stud now. I don't like just putting guys out there, but, he had an incredible spring. And if he walks in, he kind of looks like a guy that would be a surfer in Huntington Beach, California. But he'll whoop your butt. I mean, he's a wrestler. No one messes with him, but he's, 5'10", 190. But he's one of our best football players as a redshirt freshman. That's one example. I mean, he was the best player on the football field in that state championship game.
I'm still gushing over that. And there were some fellas in that game. It started with the wrestling thing when he was younger, but just I felt like during the broadcast, I have to stop lamenting over how good this guy is, because he had, double-digit tackles. I don't think he's got anything left in the tank. He gets a huge carry. He breaks 7 tackles. Everything he's not this fast, or he's not. And all he kept doing was showing up and making plays. I'm a huge, huge fan.
Well, let me tell you, what's amazing is, and we have good running backs now. I mean, we have good players, and you think that they're going to make that kid miss? His eyes are so good with that dang wrestling. He just shoots, man, and no one makes him miss. Now, I'll say that against Wayne State, he has 48 missed tackles. I'm kidding, but he literally, I mean, he's incredible.
He's a machine,
and we got Tegan Urban coming in, and he hadn't played it down for us. But that's the type of guy that we have coming in these great programs in the state. Kip Brigham from Wahoo, right? Stud, right? Derek Jones from Papio South, he got injured, was one of the best players in the Metro. So, the list goes on. We have a lot of guys coming in here, but these guys fit our culture. They fit what we want. here, and we're excited to keep recruiting these type of kids to UNK. We want to make the state proud, and we're playing both in-state schools again, Wayne State, and we play Shadron week 2 for the Good Life Trophy. I don't know if you guys knew, we play them for an actual trophy, and their Coach Long does a great job up there, and so we keep it in state, man, and it's a freaking battle now. I mean, it is a freaking battle, and we're looking forward to having a great summer and then getting on the battlefield with these guys.
Oh, fantastic stuff.
Coach, go out there and get some Millard North guys for me, all right?
Heck yeah, on it.
The Kia Summer Sticker Sales event is on at Edwards Kia. Lease the 2026 Kia Sportage Hybrid S all-wheel drive starting at $299 a month. Edwards Kia is on a winning streak. This June, the savings are as big as the season. We've also got the 2027 Kia Telluride S all-wheel drive starting at $469 a month. Don't wait. Slide into savings with the Edwards Kia Summer Sticker Sales event. Slide into savings at Edwards Hyundai. Finance the 2026 Hyundai Santa Fe at 0% for 72 months. This June, the savings are as big as the season. We've also got the 2026 Hyundai Kona SE all-wheel drive. Sign and drive starting at $287 a month with 0 down. Don't miss this pitch. Slide into savings at Edwards Hyundai. It's time to slide into savings at Edwards Nissan. Lease the 2026 Nissan Rogue Platinum starting at $379 a month, a platinum lease worth driving home. This June, the savings are as big as the season. We've also got the 2026 Nissan Pathfinder SV starting at $399 a month while supplies last. Don't miss your pitch. Slide into savings at Edwards Nissan.
We are joined now by Millard North baseball coach Bob Hlavac. Coach, how are we doing this morning?
Doing great. How about you guys?
I'm just thankful you're not over me by now. So it's like, gosh, will he say yes? Is he going to be DB'd out here? Like, man, it is good to see you smiling, man. How does it feel?
Feels good. It's finally kind of sunk in here the last couple of days. It took a little bit to get through some of it, but it's kind of hitting a little bit now.
Coach, as you're sitting here, obviously we'll start with the game itself, and then I do kind of want to ask a little bit about how you've kind of structured your program. But obviously you got the rematch against Lincoln East. It was, from the outside looking in, a daunting task last year. Your team played, I think, much better than probably everybody outside of that locker room was expecting. And I think people had a lot of the same feelings this year. How much did that experience from last year help not have this, I don't know, boogeyman effect with a team that was coming in with a pretty daunting record?
We about had it happen as it was, but
yeah, don't get it twisted.
let's just be honest there. It got a little bit dicey there with the leadoff guy getting on in the extra innings. But, we prepared with the experience from last year, we prepared to be in that position. So when we got in that position, we didn't get sped up, and we just handled the situation. And what we talked about was just being able to be tough enough to get through that. And as it plays out, that situation happened, and we were tough enough to get through it.
Yeah, you used the word toughness. I think I alluded to this post game. I'd been talking about this on our show for probably the last month. I said, this is the team to watch, just the last third of the year. I'm not sure if the mojo necessarily changed. You could just see it. You guys, the way you warm up, it's not bravado. It's confidence. It's loose. It's very connected. I said to Larry during the warm-ups, because I always watch body language, I'm like, you get the sense these guys couldn't care less about the records the previous meeting. It seemed like you guys felt like you were the better team even before the opening pitch.
I would say they were told that for a long time.
No said.
We prepared that way. We've talked to them, and throughout the course of the year, we never felt like we played our best baseball. And we kept telling them, like, when you guys can, like, eliminate some of these mistakes, and when you can execute some things we ask you to execute, you'll play your best ball and you'll understand what we're seeing. And that happened towards the end of the year.
It's just fascinating. I mean, because our listeners, they obviously don't know our history. Like, I've known you for a long, long time. The style, kind of the demeanor, how you approach it. Has there been some evolution in you? Because you're very straightforward.
Yeah, I'm getting older.
Super tough. It's like their patience and moxie and poise. It's like, this is interesting to watch because they acted a lot like you do.
It's just something that they've started. They believed in us, for one thing, and we've always talked about, like, how to handle in-game adversity. And as coaches staff, we talk about it a lot too. We don't get too excited. Like, we just kind of tell them where they're at in the game, continue to trust their training, and that we talk about that during practice. Like, hey, somebody punches us in the mouth, we're going to get back up on our feet and start swinging again. And they've done a great job of that all year, and they got better at it throughout the year, believing that the training and the mental things that we've talked about would all come to fruition as this season wound down, and it did.
Coach, you mentioned kind of overcoming adversity there. I want to talk about your starting pitcher, Driffle, there, because he was going through some things early, whether, felt like he was maybe getting squeezed a little bit with the zone, had the error on the throw to first early, and all of a sudden really only gives up one really well hit ball, and there's 4 runs on the board. Like, how did you kind of come to the decision to stick with him in that moment and say, hey, this is our guy, they're not really touching him up despite what the scoreboard says? And how was he able to kind of reset after the first couple innings and lock in for what ended up being a really nice outing?
Yeah, and I think, and no excuses by any means, but for Colin being such a regimented athlete, and I mean that to, like, every day is regimen for him. So that leaks out into game day as well.
Preparation.
So his preparation in the bullpen, typically he's got about a 10 to 15 minute at the most wait before he throws pitch 1. Here we waited probably 40, 45 minutes. So there was just a lot of pregame activities that I'm sure in his mind, he wasn't prepared for. And again, no excuse. He still got to go throw the baseball. And I think he did an unbelievable job. Might not have got a couple calls go his way. We slipped on the swing and bunt. So there was adversity thrown at us right away. And I think for him getting out of that as quick as he could was the best thing for him. We got him down in the dugout and just said, hey, just go be calm.
He's a savvy son of a gun. Even, his body language, I thought he may be in a little trouble in the third inning. He ended up hanging a 0. I felt like in my head, this is just my, I'm not obviously saying this during the broadcast, but in my head, I was like, oh boy, they might have let a good one off the hook. Like that was kind of my sentiment because he had been grinding. Then he kind of got in a rhythm. But how much of it started with what happened to one of my favorites, right? I'm watching what happened to Tanner. I see the hand. The mics picked up the word stitches. So, but we didn't, we don't want to play doctors on television and try to be professional, but we knew it was bad. He's a tough kid. He had that excruciating look on his face. How much of that, we took time, we took a couple of breaks, how much of that kind of set the table for your team's mindset?
Well, to see Tanner go back out, I mean, he wasn't when it first happened, he's like, Coach, I'm not coming out. Like, well, we didn't have an option there. I mean, he was bleeding. And I mean, you guys could see it, and you couldn't stitch it. A, we didn't have a doctor there to stitch it. B, it would have ripped and been worse anyway. So when he said he wasn't coming out, I think everybody else went, well, this is kind of what we've been talking about. We're going to get tough, and we're going to go grind this thing out and win a state championship.
Yeah, first and second, one out. He comes to the plate, and you have him bunt after pinch hitting. And I looked at Larry, and I said, that's my answer, because I wondered. He'd take his glove off kind of when he could defensively, and I didn't know if he would be able to swing the bat. And he laid one down kind of sacrificially because of how he couldn't really use his hand.
I think there was a better chance of something happening in our favor from a bunt than from him swinging.
Oh, that's tough. That's. I mean, and from our vantage, that's fantastic. I mean, you could see the looks on his face. The guys in the truck kind of would catch him out playing defense when I would maybe say something on air, or Larry would, about, readjusting his glove or making sure he was okay or protecting how he had to field. I don't think people understand the degree of difficulty of how you guys wrapped it and then redid it, and then having to go put your glove back on and function. Like I don't like, that's grit. That's grit.
He was I called him a warrior that day. He was a warrior in the baseball world.
I know the blasphemy. Disregard.
The baseball world, yeah.
He was.
So they had to wrap that thing probably 3 different times throughout the course of the game. It just kept bleeding through, but he just gritted his way through it.
My favorite part of the deal was we talked to Schaefer post game, and he mentioned something about how you guys utilized the extra day, because I felt like on paper, like, Aranaga is tough, and he's a little unique because as a left-hander, and I said this right in the open, he has an overhand delivery, which a lot of times you don't see from left-handers. So I felt like he likes to pitch out of the stretch. It's maybe tough to pick up. This is what I'm thinking in my head. We fast forward to the end of the game. I talked to Schaefer, and he's like, yeah, one of the cool things about the off day is it gave us some extra time to watch film. We're watching. We noticed, hey, listen, he's over the top. Our coaches talked to us about the approach, timing mechanisms. We felt like, because you got such good swings on him early, I was like, wow, their approach to the plate, this is impressive. I'm saying this real time. I didn't know what was behind the scenes that you guys had already prepared for. What'd you see that you were like, okay, we got an extra day. We're going to utilize this productively, and we're going to watch tape.
So we pulled some. There's stuff on every kid out there. So we didn't do anything that other people don't do on us. So we pulled some tape out and found some tendencies that we thought we could utilize in our approach, and we did early. And he's just so good, and he did a great job of keeping us off balance. But we found a couple things that we could identify as a pitch coming in from his arm slots, and I don't know that helped or not, but it didn't hurt.
Even Mabus's first at bat, he ended up striking out, but he was getting real good looks at it and real good swings. I was like, oh boy, we better settle in for this one.
Yeah, I thought he had a good at bat for the result. Even for the result, right? I mean, I felt like he was seeing it well. He just missed.
Yeah,
and then it played into later when he did find a barrel there later in the game.
Oh yeah.
Coach, I got to ask about kind of the emotional shift after the Schaefer home run, right? I'm curious what it felt like in the dugout, because in the stands, it's sort of, East is up 5-4 before the Schaefer home run, and it sort of feels like, maybe Millard North missed their opportunity. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you just have this absolute missile headed out of the stadium, and it's like, oh, we're back in this thing. Was there an emotional lift there in the dugout the same way that it felt in the stadium? Oh yeah, I mean, it was very apparent. I mean, he kind of knew what he was looking for, and he got what he was looking for, and he put a good swing on it, and he's got a little bit of juice in there, and
his humility. I'm walking him through. Because during I think the second at bat, I was like, God, he's a good low ball hitter, right? A lot of times you don't see that from right-handed hitters like that, where he could go get it down in the zone away from him. The single in the first inning let me know he knows what he's doing. He sent that thing right back up the middle. It was a little down and away. He just put a good swing on. I'm like, these guys are seeing it pretty well. I just kind of want to sit back and watch the approaches. That was high-level stuff all game from both teams, man. I don't know. It's such a hard sport. It's, in my opinion, it's the hardest of the true skilled team sports, because you have to manage emotions. There's a lot of downtime. You got to manage failure. It was a well played game for what it was, especially how you guys settled in after all the explosive fireworks early. Yeah.
Yeah, and back to Shafe, Noah Grice, who's joined our staff this year, just finished up at UNO, and he's really, really good with the plan and the hitting approach, and talks to our guys all the time about it. You don't have to do too much, and just know what you're looking for and then execute the swing, and that's what Shafe did on that swing. So,
God, he sat on that. That thing couldn't have been more than 20 feet high.
I know. I kept thinking, you got to get higher. You got to get higher.
Well, I mean, we were. I was sitting with one of our reporters, Austin, during the game, and I didn't react. Like I'm a Millard North alum. I'm rooting for you guys, obviously, and not an impartial media member in this situation by any means. But I'm watching this thing, and I basically didn't react at all because I didn't think it had any chance of actually clearing the wall. And then Austin's like, I think that's gonna go. And I just sort of was stunned that it actually made it out. It was an incredible piece of hitting.
Last one from me, Coach, and I appreciate it. I don't just knowing your personality, I don't think these are always your favorite things to do. So I appreciate it. But I got to talk about Jax. He misplays the foul ball, and you're thinking, oh shoot, we've just seen the inability to kill the head of the snake. Here comes East again with some of that magic. It gets super hectic, and he's like, yeah, no, I'm going to strike out the side. He had how about him getting control of his spinner early, where that's tough, man. He throws the breaking ball for a first pitch strike, and then all of a sudden it's chaos. I think as a hitter, especially with him being as good a lefty as he is.
Yeah, and I mean, he hasn't always been able to land both pitches throughout the course of the year. But
I looked at the strikes to walkout ratio. Believe me, I was like,
you know what I'm saying?
16 walks for 11 innings pitched. Yeah.
Well, we got down to the end there, and we're like, we had a couple options, and he came up to us before the game, and he's like, we get in a situation, I want the ball. I'm like, oh boy,
Oh, that's awesome.
Short leash, short leash. So, he was able to land that curveball, and then he throws 93, 94 from the left side from way up top. And, it's a different look.
I think I call it is so unprofessional, but I was so enamored as a former player. I was like, oh, that's just unfair.
Yeah.
When he threw the first pitch breaking ball and then comes back with just unleaded at the numbers, I'm thinking, oh, this could get tough.
Yeah, he might not have been trying to mix up his locations, but it just turned out that
way. Well, hey, we'll take it however it happened. Coach, we appreciate your time. I appreciate you bringing a state title back to good old Millard North, and we'll hopefully talk again this time next year.
I'm proud of you, bud. Well done.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Make this the summer event at Edwards Jeep and Ram, Council Bluffs and Village Point. Lease the 2026 Jeep Wrangler Sport S starting at $289 a month. Built for the road and ready for summer. This June, the savings are as big as the season. We've also got the 2026 Ram 1500 Bighorn starting at $399 a month, or finance at 2.9% APR for 72 months. Don't miss this pitch. Slide into savings at Edwards Jeep and Ram, Council Bluffs and Village Point. It's time to slide into savings at Edwards Chevrolet. Lease the 2026 Chevy Trax LT for just $349 a month. $0 down with your first payment due at signing. 2 great Chevys, one big June event. Slide into a 2026 Chevy Equinox LT for just $399 a month. $0 down with your first payment due at signing. Get to Edwards Chevrolet today. Together, let's drive.
Make sure you get to unionomaha.com to get your tickets. Their next match, Wednesday, July 1st. It's presented by Nebraska Medicine. It's their Stars, Stripes, and Soccer game against AV Alta FC. Union Omaha is where it's at. 7 p.m. Morrison Stadium for the Stars, Stripes, and Soccer match on Wednesday, July 1st. Get to unionomaha.com for your tickets. We are joined now by Damon Day, the head coach of Skutt Baseball. Coach, how are we doing this morning?
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for saying yes. Just knowing you this long, I was afraid to be the one to reach out, so we had Austin do it. I was like, I don't know, man. Those in games, I don't think he enjoys the media. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Hey, man, Austin's a good one, man. I seen that kid grow up. Like, you guys got yourself a good one there. I'm excited to see the places he's going to go and the things he's going to do. So I'm super proud of the way he represents Central and Western Nebraska, and the kid works his tail off. So yeah, I was glad. I kind of chuckled when he did reach out to me there.
Well, so I was afraid because we didn't get you for the post game. It was so chaotic, and everybody was interviewing you. And we had talked to Bubba, and I was like, wait, I got a great question from a father to a father perspective, and you had disappeared. I was like, he just doesn't want to talk to me.
Well, I would probably say, based upon my post-game behavior, which I'm obviously not extraordinarily proud of, or probably wasn't my finest moment, it was probably a good thing that we didn't get that interview in. And so, yeah, it probably was good timing.
Do you well, I didn't bring it up. Do you want to talk about that? Because I was curious. That wasn't going to be my question, but I was curious.
You know how it is as a coach. You know when you screw up. You know when it's not your finest hour, and you know when you're like, oh, like hindsight's 20/20, and I got caught in the moment, and I got to be better than that. Like I know I do, and that's not the who I am or who I want us to be. And I think it. I don't want to say it, the NSAA did an amazing tournament, which I don't even know how you run a tournament with 24 head baseball coaches. I mean, that's like dating. That's like having to handle 24 crazy ex-girlfriends, right? Like, I mean, baseball coaches are the worst. Like, I mean, you can't do anything right. And so, the NSAA did a great job with the tournament. They made a huge decision on Friday to let us play on Saturday and it'd be sunny and 70. And so it was just a great tournament. It was well run. And then I go do something stupid, which, I'm too old to be like apologetic about it. It's just more like I'll learn, I'll get better at it. That's not, I got to be better, and I will be better in the future for it. But yeah, it was just one of those. It was just one of those moments that you're just not super proud of. So I was going to bring it up anyway because this is my penance now. Like now, when the guys hear it, they'll be like, "Oh, he actually." Owns up to mistakes. And I think that's something that we preach in our program is don't make excuses. You don't need to hide your head or keep your dauber down. Like I messed up. It is what it is. I apologize to the people who needed to be apologized to. And it's just not going to happen again.
Oh, so authentic. It reminds me of the in-game interview, right? Because basically you get off to the slow start and I hadn't heard the term since maybe me talking to my dad. You said, look, man, we're not going to cry over spilt milk. We're going to go try to find a way to manufacture and scratch some runs across. We got a lot of game left. And once the interview was done, I said to Larry, boy, there's nothing more Coach Dave than saying, stop crying over spilt milk. Like, and your team responded. Like you talk about gutsy and resilient.
Yeah. I'm blessed with an amazing coaching staff. Brett Elam was a longtime high school coach. Jake Hoover was a longtime high school baseball coach. Phoenix Stevenson played for me at the university. And so we are a beautiful hot mess of coaches. I don't know if we've ever agreed on anything. Like you want to talk about four willy-nilly's always just sitting there. Like we bring up the worst case scenario to the best case scenario. So I'm just blessed to have those guys because they've done a great job in helping me transition to being a high school coach. As a college coach, it's a whole different world. It's a whole different game. Coach Elam really taught me how to be a relationship builder with these kids on a high school level. Helped me become a better dad because of it too. So Coach Hoover's just really helped me out with the offensive side of things.
He's a cool son of a gun, isn't he?
Yeah, like he was like, hey, what button defenses and first and thirds are we all at steal plays? And I was like,
huh?
You don't run in college, you'll get thrown out. And we're just like, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, we're just trying to hit a 3-run homer. Like,
listen,
he's like, no. Yeah.
Because of the pressure that Elkhorn North puts on you, there is good first to third and second to home as anybody. You had multiple bunt situations, both offensively and defensively. The game was super exciting, but the strategy was probably the most amazing part of that game.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, we got caught because like we have 2 bunt defenses and Elkhorn North knew them. So, I think the funniest thing is when we went to bunt, one of our guys missed the bunt sign, and the Elkhorn third baseman said, he's supposed to bunt. I was like, he knows you're supposed to bunt. Why aren't you knowing you're supposed to bunt? So we try to keep it simple, but, God bless them. They're 16 to 18-year-old kids in that moment. I mean, what an atmosphere at Warner Park. Holy cow. It was electric. I mean, I've never been a part of anything like that. Like I've gotten to do, like I said, I've gotten to do some cool things, but it was really, really an electric atmosphere, and our coaching staff just kind of kept hanging in there. And I do remember like when they scored to make it 9-7, I like looked in the dugout. I was like, hey man, this is only going to make the story cooler. And they all looked at me like, we're done, coach. Like we're done. Like no, like this isn't going to be cool. Like we just lost it. Like they just gave me that look, like no motivation, just dead in the water. And then we got a knock and a double and a knock, and we're right back in it. And the rest is kind of history.
Real time, I said, there has to be 13, 14 runs scored with 2 outs. So our statistician, he whipped it up right away. He's like, it was at that point, it was 14 on the dot. 9 of them were by Skutt. Like 9 runs with 2 outs. You better have some resolve and some poise if that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and that last inning, I even told our hitters in the bottom of the 7th, I was like, hey, let's take some pitches and let's let them feel the moment a little bit. And we go first pitch. Bubba goes first pitch single. Heller goes second pitch double. Hipsher goes second pitch. I was like, guys, we've seen 8 pitches.
You know what's funny about that? Go back, like real time during the broadcast, it's 2-0. And I was like, God, you got to take here probably and make him throw a strike. You foul one off straight back, and I go, I guess not. Swing away.
Well, he had the take sign, and we don't use the take sign. We don't use the take sign very often. Like, I don't know if we used it all year, so he hadn't remembered it since a classroom in March, like one of those things. Like, so you've been around sports, you've seen it. Like, there's teams of destiny, and there's teams of those boys were going to find a way. They're a tight knit crew, and man, after last year's disappointment, they've never talked about it. Like that was the weirdest thing is I never heard once like revenge or like we're going to get it done this year. These guys just went about it with that quiet confidence, just that easy, like I'm not going to bang my chest, but we're going to find a way, and they found a way.
Coach, you mentioned kind of the transition from being at UNK to the high school level. What have you noticed about yourself and how you mentioned kind of relationship building at the high school level as well? What are some of the things you've noticed about your coaching style adjusting to the younger group of guys?
Oh man, the one that they've taught me more than I could ever teach them, honestly. Like just about empathy and what they're dealing with in this modern world. And like some people were like, man, I've never seen that emotion. That amount of emotion from Bubba or your guys. And I was like, have you seen social media? Have you seen and so it's a crazy thing. And so I went from a very transactional college baseball coach where, you hit 350, you get to play. Oh, you don't hit, you're sitting today. Like I went from it's all about production to, hey man, what do you need today? Like that's all we kind of talked about as our coaching staff is really more like, what do these kids need? And I remember I came in the very first day at Skutt and I was fire and brimstone. Like we're wearing the plain unis, all black shoes, like no colored batting gloves.
Style.
Yeah. I was like, we're going to do it this way. And Coach Elam looked at me and goes, Coach, that's never going to work. And I was like, oh, it'll work. And about 2 months in, I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever. You all wear whatever you want. Pink, green, neon, whatever. Like, just just be you, like it just be you guys, like and that was like a huge letting go moment of me, for me as a coach to give them that freedom. But man, it did teach me a lot because it just made the journey so much more enjoyable. Like, you know, in college, you're kind of getting to the next contract, like hearing the Twitter warriors. Like, obviously I was in a unique situation because it was covered, but it wasn't covered. But now, like, just to get to high school and just every day at 3:15, you're just so jacked to show up. And then you show up and these kids are just like, let's go. And we get to practice fast. Like, our practices are boring, but the music's always going and the boys know what to do. And we fly around and have fun for about an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half. And they're boring. People have come, hey, can I come watch your practice? I'm like, honestly, if you want to watch us play catch and play high-level BP, like, that's all we do. Like, that's situational baseball. Coach Hoover will always throw in a couple bunt defenses and first and third defenses just to keep us on our toes. But they were just such a joy to be around. They ever since I've come to Skutt, all the boys have just been – they want to talk to you. They want to hear stories. They want to talk recruiting. They want to talk all the different things. And it's just been it's been life-changing, honestly. And I know that's a cliche or however you want to say it, but it has been life-altering. And then you got a kid on your team. And those kids have – I'm cooking up cheeseburgers in December for them. Like, it was just such it's just been such an amazing experience that how can it not transform you?
Interesting. I'm going to save the Bubba deal for last. Fascinating couple of dynamics during that game. I've seen Elam for a while, probably 3 years at this stage. Never seen the 4 consecutive walks. He struggled with command early. I don't think he loved, I thought he felt like he was kind of getting squeezed a little bit, but he's got really good poise. So he battled. I was surprised to see Teeter early. Teeter kind of stems the tide. You got to walk me through that decision. Elam has been so good for you all year, savvy. What was the conversation like when you made the change to go to Teeter? And what I thought was fairly early.
Yeah, Easton's a war horse. Easton, that guy beat the 6A Mustang High Oklahoma State champion. I think they ended up 38-2, and one of those losses was to Easton Elam, who absolutely dominated them in a 2-0 shutout. He was the dog all season long and pitched in the big games and earned the right to pitch in those big games. And so the situation was more of a, hey, we got this to even, or we got this to wherever we're at. He's done his part. Like, he's done his part. There's no reason to hang this on him for what he had done for us this season. I was just like, he's done his part. Teeter has been lights out. We kind of got in a weird dynamic to where Werner Park is an amazing experience. It is a minor league baseball field.
It is, yeah.
And trying to get Bubba loose became a problem that we hadn't thought or talked through. Because the bullpens are way out there and there's no room, and we dropped the ball. I, as the head coach, dropped the ball on figuring out that plan with him hitting, and the innings were going quick, and so we dropped the ball on getting Bubba ready fast enough.
Fascinating. Because I'll give you this. This happened with Millard. I'll give you, like, we're doing the broadcast. We don't know, right? I'm just going by what I see. So you have the timeout. You're taking time. You're talking about, I think, what you want to be the switch, not a double, just the switch. So he jogs out to center field, ends up going to get warmed up. Then you have another inning or two that goes by, but you want him to obviously still be playing defense. So did he not have enough time, or you felt like the game, you were planning for a situation and then you just had to play it by ear?
Yeah, Bubba takes forever. Bubba takes forever. If Bubba's got a 5 p.m. start, he gets out of school at 12:15. Like, this kid's routine is unlike anything, and it's funny, but it's not. Like, we joke with him about it. God bless him. I love him, but he takes forever, and he's never been in relief. Again, failure as a head coach, never thinking through the scenarios. He has not pitched in relief in his entire life. And so there was just that, literally, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just down here chucking. And then finally my assistant coach is like, if he gets you off the hook and we score, I'm putting him in. Coach Tim Sharman, who was out in the bullpen, he's like, because he is pumped up, and he is not going to talk to you if he does not go in. And I was like, all right, because he already gave me the death stare like 3 times.
We thought we were going to see him the inning previous, and I said out loud, I said, well, they still have Day that they can go to, and you got another inning out of Teeter. So I was thinking you were going to go to him a little earlier too.
Yeah, pretty much everybody but me. Yeah, I failed, man. Like, it was, as a coach, you're just like, I'm gonna, like, when we were down to our last out, I'm sitting in the third base coach's box going, yeah, you're gonna go down as the biggest idiot in the history of high school baseball, because everyone's gonna be like, oh, did Bubba lose? No, Bubba didn't pitch. And I was that just kept going over and over in my head. But my boys, that's why they're my boys, right? They, like, we got coach. We're gonna save him from history. Like, we're gonna get him done. We're gonna save him, and he did. And then Bubba came in the 8th, and I ain't never seen him act like that. But let it burn, baby. Like, heck yeah, like let it ride.
God, he was shoving too. Okay, so last one up, because this is what I was going to ask you after the game, because I've kind of been through a very similar situation with Caleb, but I didn't have the analogy. I'm watching the at bat. You had a chance to break it open early, or at least get back even. First and second, no outs. He gets the infield pop-up, right? He had taken really good at bats. I felt like he was seeing it pretty well. Didn't even give you the inkling that he was off balance, right? He was take, very patient. He gets the infield pop-up. You had a chance. I watched your body language, right? You're just coaching. You're in the moment. You gave the clap. Hey, let's move on. The very next time he sacks, and I'm thinking, oh, gosh, like, I wonder how those dynamics work. Like, that would be like me telling Caleb or Mike, like, hey, fair catch, or, take a knee, right? Like, so that dynamic was interesting. Then there's the pitching thing, which I don't know until you just explained it. Then he comes back and he gets the game winner. I asked him about the initial at-bats, the walk, then the sack, and he, without batting an eye, Coach, he says, look, that's what we talk about all the time. Unselfish. Just do what you're asked to do. Not once did he say, well, it made me feel like this. But the reality of it is you two have to go home together. Right? Like, everybody can say the good answers, and it was very thought-provoking, but I'm like, yeah. I said, but we've had to take that car ride home, or we've had to sit at the dinner table. The dynamic is fascinating. And I almost sometimes think it's a little easier if your kid isn't very good. But when he is pretty good, I actually think that's tougher. You got to let me know what that's like for you, coaching a talented, free spirit. He's still just a junior. Like, the dynamics are fascinating to me.
I think a lot of that sack bunt and kind of like you're saying, like, I think if we as a program did not build up our kids the way that I feel like that we build them up, I think you could have the doubt creep in, like, oh, he doesn't trust me. But all year long, everybody's bunted. Everybody's bunted. Cooper Smith bunted in the semifinal. That was his first sack bunt of the entire season. And so I think as long as you stay consistent with your messaging, then it never creeps. Like, we as old timers, like, we're thinking, oh, they don't trust me. No, I think these younger guys were just like, hey, it makes sense. We've done this before. We're going to do it again. And so, the bunt thing was more just, that was in our situational play card. We don't go away from our situational play card very, very often. I'm not a big, like, hey, I got a feeling or a hunch guy, because as we learned with my feelings and hunches on my pitching decisions, they didn't go very far. And so, no, it was just more of and then I knew when he came to the plate, I just had this calmness that it was done. I knew he was going to find some way, somehow. Now, when they did bring in the 5th infielder, I was kind of like, that's his honey hole. I was like, uh-oh. But he got a ball up that he could do some work with and drove the baseball in a huge moment. And, so undescribable as a dad. I mean, our dynamic has changed so much. I kind of joke with people when we first came to Skutt, we were really excited about basketball because he was a pretty good basketball player. Mm-hmm. Coach Juergens has an amazing basketball program.
Very
really,
stories.
Yeah, and mine and Bubba's relationship has always been amazing. We're extraordinarily close, but he was fed up with me. Like I'll admit I had just been too hard on him that summer, and just you could just tell. And then once I got the job at Skutt, I really backed off, and then I got to be around some of these other coaches who told me like, just love them up, and it worked. Like, and you know, a huge part of Bubba growing and maturing into the player that he is Jace Siola, a right-handed pitcher at Nebraska right now.
I love the family.
Oh, I mean, you want to talk about life-altering relationships, God putting people in your life. I mean, Jace picked up Bubba. Bubba's literally first day of school. Jace is like, let's go. You're with me. We're going to go work out. And they became workout buddies. And Jace really taught Bubba how to work and do it in the dark, right? Like, there's no fanfare in baseball. There's no Friday night lights. There's no packed gyms. And so when Bubba got up for his moment, he was ready to go because of guys like Jace Siola who taught him on the way.
Last one from me, Coach. It's got to be a luxury with how well-rounded you guys are. You were so good up the middle defensively, and I think, you know, Christensen goes to center, Elam comes in the short, like he's going to pitch. You have these rotations, and I said to Larry real time, I was like, guys, such good players. Like, you have the luxury and freedom of guys to still be multifaceted. You guys didn't skip a beat, man. You practice positionally those situations, or is this another one of those things where it kind of just happened like this and it worked out for us? Quite a luxury for, you know, shortstops to have that kind of versatility. And it was just the game within the game was fascinating. Coach Dunn, so good with running the bases and his level of aggression. And they're clearly well coached, right?
Yeah, I mean, ton of respect for Elkhorn North.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, ton of respect for Elkhorn North, and you know, I think one of the reasons why we're so versatile is our multi-sport athletes. I mean, people don't realize Nate Christensen is one of the best defensive backs in Class B. Brendan Ruth, I don't know if Brendan Ruth can catch a fly ball, but he sure was able to guard some people. So I was like, hey, when the ball's in the air, go catch it, and he did it. Like, I'm just blessed with so many athletes. Lucas Heller is probably one of the very rare people in the state of Nebraska who's won a football title, a basketball title, and a baseball title in his career. And so I think it's just being blessed with multi-sport athletes that bring different skill sets to the baseball field that can be used. That's why I'm an advocate for multi-sport guys, because I think you only get to go around this earth once, and you better burn it down while you're here. And so when Nate goes out to center, he's going to go catch it. When Lucas has to do any of those changes we make, we feel really confident just because those guys are such great athletes.
All right, Coach, I'm going to try and weave this in here as best as I can. So I know Bubba is currently committed to Florida State, which I happen to be a randomly big fan of.
He's a honk.
Call him the College World Series all the time. But I know you're kind of randomly a big fan of a different team with a gold helmet, and you had a little bit of beef that we don't talk enough Notre Dame football around here. So here's your platform. Notre Dame football takes, Coach. Let's go. What do we got?
Well, I mean, first of all, it is the greatest college football program ever.
Oh, Lord.
Ever. Like, the pageantry, the tradition, the greatness. I mean, you play in front of Jesus every Saturday. I mean, I don't know if it gets any higher in the world of rankings.
I mean, listen, you took a lot of titles pre-World War II. Yeah, that's the squad for you, baby.
One of my best friends is DJ Rizak, and Teddy is still at Notre Dame. I have to hear a lot of similar things, Coach.
You know, everyone wants, pre-World War II. I mean, well, what was when the Huskers were good? What was that? The first Iran war? Like, who were we fighting then? Like that was how long ago? I mean, so I love college football. I actually just love watching kids compete. I just really do. Like, that's become something really, really cool. I love going to Skutt basketball games and seeing Juergens play defense, and just I love Coach Turman getting all fired up, and so I just love watching competitiveness, and you know, my father and I used to go to a ton of Notre Dame games, so it's just sentimental. And so when we visited Notre Dame, I was so excited. Bubba was like, and Bubba only went on the visit because of Dad. Like, this was like, he played the part, he did the whole thing, and it was 51 degrees. And you would have thought we were in the Arctic. You know, up by Lake Michigan, Bubba was frozen, and I was like, man, this is awesome, Bubs. Like, this could be the place. And he just looked at me and he was like, no, Dad, I'm not going to Notre Dame. And I don't know if I've ever been stabbed in the heart harder or faster or swifter when he's like, nope. He goes, nope. I was like, oh. So the dream died. But
I mean,
yeah.
If he takes 4 hours to get warmed up, you probably don't want him in the cold weather.
No, he hates the cold. Like if you ask him, he
might be a better fit.
Coach,
he is adverse to the cold.
We might be in the same support group. My second oldest boy he's just making sure I scheduled his first camp visit to Iowa here in about 2 weeks, and I'm thinking this is going to be the end of me.
Yeah. Oh. It'll hurt you in ways you never know, Coach. Like you're gonna be laying in bed and you're gonna be like, "Did this really like Iowa? Like black? Like I can't do it. Like you're just gonna be like, I can't do it." So yeah, we'll start a support group.
And I'm like, yeah, I'll be calling Kaz, and he's gonna hit you up. You're gonna be like, "You gave him the invite, and we'll be over at Pisons." So in our tiers.
Yes, very much so.
Coach, we appreciate the time. Great stuff. Congratulations on the state championship and all the success.
Thank you guys so much. And thank you for all you guys do for the state of Nebraska and covering high school sports the way that you did. And I am going to leave you with I did not know Coach Verzal very well. I'd only been at Kearney a short time, but I know Coach Benning, you were very close with him. Verz found out that me and Bubba lived in a house by ourselves. It was just him and I. He found out through word of mouth. And every Friday he donated, he would bring spaghetti and he'd bring pasta for me and Bubs. And just one amazing man. And I wouldn't be doing a service if I didn't tell that story. But Bubba would always be like, "We got pasta." And I was like, "Verz got us." And just what a great man, what a great human being. And the Skutt family misses him so much. I know he's a close personal friend of yours. But what an amazing man who went out of his way to just help two bachelors live in the high life together, but he always made sure Bubba was fed. And so I did want to share that story, Coach Benning, because he was a good man. I know he's a close friend of yours.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate you guys. Have a great day.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Got it.
That is Damon Day, head coach at Skutt baseball. Let's take a quick break here. Really appreciate those sentiments on Verz as well. That is the least surprising thing I've ever heard.
Man,
I mean, that's yeah.
I'm glad we I'm glad we pulled that off.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's good get offs, and that's somebody I've been dying to talk to. And I get it. He's polarizing for some and loved by a lot. So,
I can appreciate though.
I think both coaches in their own right, face that, but just being comfortable in their own skin. And maybe that's why I gravitate towards them.
And something tells me Coach Day is going to come back on at some point.
Make this the summer event at Edwards Jeep and Ram, Council Bluffs and Village Point. Lease the 2026 Jeep Wrangler Sport S starting at $289 a month. Built for the road and ready for summer. This June, the savings are as big as the season. We've also got the 2026 Ram 1500 Bighorn starting at $399 a month, or finance at 2.9% APR for 72 months. Don't miss this pitch. Slide into savings at Edwards Jeep and Ram, Council Bluffs and Village Point. It's time to slide into savings at Edwards Chevrolet. Lease the 2026 Chevy Trax LT for just $349 a month. $0 down with your first payment due at signing. 2 great Chevys, 1 big June event. Slide into a 2026 Chevy Equinox LT for just $399 a month. $0 down with your first payment due at signing. Get to Edwards Chevrolet today. Together, let's drive.
We are joined now by Mike Hurd, the head coach for Omaha softball. Coach, how we doing this morning?
Good. How you guys doing?
Coach, listen, I joke with these guys because you come up a lot for a guy that we haven't talked to before. I think our listeners know I have this weird affinity for you. I told the guys this morning, if I get a little weird during the interview, it's on me, man. I know you don't always enjoy like the whole media circus and stuff, man, but we had to pull the trigger, man, so we appreciate you.
This is awesome. I listen to you guys every morning. I love what you guys are doing right now.
Do you find it odd that we have such an affinity for softball?
I think it's growing, right? I hear that more and more out in the community all the time. I think it's growing. So people are kind of catching on that it's a pretty fun game.
So you've been the head coach for about 5 years now. Like, when did you realize, I assume it was before you took this job, but when did you realize like how good the youth softball in Omaha and this state was? Like when did that part hit you, or have you always known?
Yeah, for a while. I kind of came up, little bit of a grassroots type of resume with me. So I came up and I coached club ball around here for quite a while. I coached some high school ball. So I've been around that side of it for quite a while. And softball in the area has been good. If you go back and look, softball in the area has been good for a long time. And I think just over the past 10 years, it's continued to elevate. And man, there's so much talent that comes out of the state for such a small population state. There's so much talent that comes out of here.
Coach, that's one of the things that I've been amazed by, just knowing your background from youth to high school to college. I won't say dominance yet, but really, 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 really good at the collegiate level. It's kind of an unusual ascension because somebody's got to give you the opportunities too. Your name was throughout the community forever as a softball guy, but you got a school that's like, okay, that's going to be our guy. We see the vision. How important was that? Because a lot of people want to get guys that can get players. They don't know how to surround those coaches sometimes to be successful. How'd the vision play out for you?
Yeah, my the process of coming here, a little bit unusual. Adrian was not here when I interviewed for the job. Mike Kemp was actually the interim AD at UNO when I interviewed. So Mike Kemp hired me, knowing that, wasn't sure in 4 or 5 months what it was going to look like. So, and then when Adrian took the job, I think that's when I really started feeling comfortable. He has been so good to work with and to work for, and just the support that he gives. And it didn't take long after Adrian was here to feel like, yeah, I think we can, with the support here and I think our visions kind of matched what we wanted to do in the future. It didn't take long for me to feel like we could start building something pretty cool.
Coach, you mentioned that vision, and obviously it seems like Omaha, maybe more than even some of the other local universities, has started to really put their foot on the gas pedal in terms of trying to ramp up for athletics. You got athletic construction projects going on and things like that. How much has the university's vision changed since you started till now?
Yeah, again, go back to Adrian, Chancellor Lee, I think perfect match. I think they came on about the same time. Chancellor Lee came on just a couple months after I had started, and then she brought on Adrian. And, from day one, honestly, I think they were lockstep with each other in terms of what they wanted to do with Omaha athletics. And it's just been a steady climb, I think, in terms of what they've did the past 4 or 5 years. And we got some really cool stuff coming that they've put in place that I think will even give us the opportunity, at least take us to that next level. So Omaha athletics as a whole will be something to watch next couple years, I think.
It's so fascinating because I knew this was going to be cool. I'm trying to squash the emotions. I'm a Mavs guy through and through. Easily the most important college in my family dynamics, and that goes without saying. And I've watched Adrian and Chancellor Lee. I met them, and our boss is a huge Mavs hockey fan, and had a chance to meet her a couple of years ago, and I've had lunch with Adrian a few times now. And the vision, those two being on the same page, and to listen to you sit up in your seat about the level of excitement. There is no long-term commitment you were hot had a lot of opportunities, right? Your program is on the upward ascent, and you're watching these two work together. You mentioned their dynamics and the shared vision. Do you think people understand how important it is for institutional leadership and academic leadership to be pulling in the same direction?
Man, that's right. And Damon, it, that doesn't happen everywhere, right? It just doesn't happen. And they really are. It's not something that it just comes off that way. I mean, they are really on the same page in terms of what they want to do with the direction. And, I've told Adrian, whatever's going on out there, as long as he's running this athletic department,
that's cool.
I feel very comfortable saying, I'm going to be at Omaha and continue to grow this with him, because the way those two work together, and the administration as a whole, the whole department, when you talk to them, and you can talk to each one individually, and you hear the same message from each one. And that's so important in terms of not just my program, but Omaha athletics overall. So, what they do, it is unusual. And I don't know if everybody realizes how important it is and how much they have to work together to make it happen. But they do a fabulous job of supporting us.
Coach, one of the things I've kind of admired from afar about you and your career is, like, you're an Omaha guy, right? Like, Omaha through and through. DB knows, like, that's a thing that's so important to me. Like, I am a homer for Omaha, right? Like, and so I see, obviously you're born here, and then you come up through not just the high school ranks, but man, I have such a soft spot in my heart for NAI and small school athletics. Like, I coached low-level college basketball for a long time. Like, what are some of the same challenges you face at Midlands at an NAIA school as you're trying to build a Summit League program? Because I think there might be a little more overlap there than people realize.
Man, you are exactly right. There's a lot of overlap there. And, resources, right? When when you're in an NAIA, resources is always a challenge. And how do you maximize what you got? And, same thing a little bit here. Obviously, we have more resources here than we had at Midland. But when you're, long-term goal, right? We don't, just want to compete in the Summit League. We want to be able to go out and compete at a higher level and do some things at regionals and be able to go out there and compete with some of the Power Fours and all that too. So you always got to look at resources and what you have and how you maximize them. And for us, it always started with our recruiting, and top priority day one was keep it local. Right. We know the talent in Nebraska. We know the talent in the Midwest around us. Bring in those local kids that we know not only can compete at that level, but have some ownership with the program once they get here. And it was the same at Midland too. We competed locally there. And those kids can go there. Those girls can go compete on a national level when you do things right.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the local. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, over half your roster is from the state, and almost all of it is from the Midwest region, as you talked about there. How important is it for you when you're trying to be responsible about the resources you do have? Like, how important is talent evaluation, not just for you personally, but when you're looking at a staff and trying to say, hey, maybe this person's not as highly recruited, but we think they can play at this level? Like, how big is that when you're looking at people to either work with or to bring into your program?
Yeah, I think you have to do that. We always talk, I think every one of our staff meetings, we talk about being a development program. So looking for those players that in our minds are probably Power 4 level players, at least that potential. But maybe they, need a year or two in the program before they reach that level. So you're looking for talent, but you're also trying to project, okay, what's this player going to be in a year or two in our program, and what will they look like as a sophomore and a junior, and not just that freshman year. So that's huge for us. And it's also, we're looking for a certain specific type of player too. It's not just physical talent. It's the mental side of it too, in terms of you want winners. You want players that are focused on winning and not afraid to say we're going to go try to win championships and just put it out there and go after that. And so there's players before that maybe didn't fit that would have been super talented players, but they didn't necessarily fit what we're looking for on that side of it. So it's got to be the whole thing for us.
I think you maybe gave me a little insight when you were talking about, excuse me, the consistency of the message between Chancellor Lee and your athletic director and Adrian. And so maybe this is the same for you, but I've watched your style for a long time, and I joke with the guys. It can be a little intimidating, but it's really just direct. You're very clear, like your messages are clear. How long did it take that style to be one that people could gravitate towards, especially considering, you're crossing genders at your like when you talk about recruiting a specific type of player, they have got to be able to, and it's not necessarily a male female thing, but it comes up a ton in terms of how we receive instruction. We were talking a couple of weeks ago, and even just yesterday, about being coached hard and how it's not for everybody. And we weren't even talking about female sports necessarily, but
we talked a lot about with football.
Your style is we don't leave a lot of conversations wondering what you're thinking, but you've done it from all ages. Is it just the consistency of the message?
Yeah, I think so. And you guys know this, and everybody said it. I'm sure you've said it. You just have to build that. You have to build that trust first. And I think I've always said, I personally, I think you can coach females the same way as you coach males. I really do. And I think as long as you build that trust and they know that you truly have their best interest and the team's best interest in place, you can talk to them just very directly and very honestly about things. I think people would be a little surprised if they came and watched our team at practice or wherever we're at. It's probably much more laid back and fun and not near as regimented as some people would think when they see the way I come off. I think there's a real comfort level that the players develop with me and with the coaching staff and with each other. And to me, I tell them, I just want them to feel like they can completely be themselves when they're around the team. Sometimes I see players that act differently around a coach than they might around their teammates when they go back to the dorm or when they go home. And I really want players to just be themselves when they're around me and around the team and feel comfortable doing that. And I think as long as that agreement is in place, that we're just going to be honest with each other. And I want them to speak as freely to me as I speak to them. I want them to speak their mind to me. If they disagree with me about something, man, let's talk it through. Let's get it out there in the open and just deal with it like adults. And it just works. It works for us. Maybe it doesn't work for everybody, but it works well for us.
Is that kind of the part of the secret sauce too? Because I mean, just following like Caitlin and Ava. Of course, they've got to play against Harley, and you have these different high school dynamics in terms of just how competitive some of these programs are. But then once they get to you, man, it just appears to be all about winning and having that kind of collective vision.
Yeah, and we're pretty upfront with them on the recruiting process with that too, right? We really want players who are willing to take ownership of their own development, right? We'll coach them up, and we'll give them the direction they need, and we'll help them on that. And I think I've heard you guys talk about this before, but a player that needs someone to babysit them and walk them through things every day is not a fit in our program.
I'm anti-babysitter.
I am, absolutely, right. That just does not work. So, and we talk about that in the recruiting process. Players that really want to take ownership and get there themselves and put in the extra work. I mean, we've got, NCAA gives us 20 hours a week or whatever it is to work with them, and we're just up front. That's not enough, right? If you want to get to where you want to be and you want your team to get to where it needs to be, that's not enough. You've got to be willing to do things on your own. And the other part of that too is our coaching staff is 3 coaches. It's me and 2 great assistants that I have.
Yeah, Brooke and Jen. I gotta say, I can't.
Yeah, Brooke and Jen. Yeah. Again, both local. Lucky to get the local talent coming back in the coaching ranks too. But we don't have 6, 8, 9 coaches running around practice every day, being able to give hands-on all of the time. So again, that goes back to the resources a little bit. How do we maximize it? We maximize it by getting players that want to come in and own their own development. And so we're honest with them in the recruiting process, and we've been lucky enough to get those type of kids. And then once you establish that, man, once the freshman class comes in, it's almost like the upperclassmen take over and just show them, here's how we're doing it, and this is what's expected.
Coach, you mentioned something there about building that trust. And when we talk about that, it seems like we almost always think about coaches being able to trust your players. But you brought in a really unique, I think, aspect of that, of players being able to trust you as well in order to be themselves. Like, is that a part of coaching you think is a little underserved? Is the trust going both ways in that relationship?
Oh, good point.
It has to be that way, right? I don't think you can fully maximize unless it is that way. And that's a process, right? I think that's probably one of the biggest learning curves that freshmen have to go through coming in. And you always see it in the fall when they come in, and it takes them a little while to figure out that, yeah, this is really how it is. We can be ourselves, and we can be who we are, and we can voice what we want the coach to hear. We feel comfortable voicing that to him and voicing that to the team, and knowing that we will listen. That doesn't mean we always agree, right? We talk about that from day one. We're not always going to agree on things, but we're going to be open and honest and talk through everything. And you know what? When you do it that way and you handle it as an adult, I think 99% of the time you walk out of the room on the same page. And if it's that 1%, then you know what? That happens too, and that's life, and we'll work through that too. But 99% of the time you walk out the door on the same page, and everybody feels good about it.
I promise you we're going to get to the team specifics in a second, but I like to peel back the curtain a little bit so people can see the process, because you just don't roll the ball out there, and you're one of the top mid majors in the country, and you have this kind of success. So I like for people to kind of see the like what's the what and how it's actually happened. And I'm gonna go back to your staff, because it is just the 3 of you. And sometimes there's pros and cons to that. It's not a lot of ideas being bounced off a lot of different people. And I get it. Jen, she played at Creighton, and I think she took did you get her from Pitt State or St. Cloud?
I did. No, she was at St. Cloud as a GA, then she went to Pitt State. And
okay. So how did it form? Like, talk to me about how you put together your staff, because I think that's interesting.
I literally called Jen within 24 hours of me accepting the job. She was my first call. I've known Jen actually played for me in club ball. So I've known her forever. I knew what type of coach she was going to be, and has grown into. So literally within 24 hours, she was my first call. I think I surprised her a little bit, and I said, hey, not only come home but move up and let's build this program. And she said, let me think about it here a little bit. And that's cool. And I think she called her parents and talked through it with them a little bit. And, immediately, it wasn't long. She called me back, took the job. And so she's been here since day one, and just been awesome. We're on the same page with everything. And then we had a spot open up last year, and same thing. Brooke's a local kid, went up South Dakota State and killed it up there playing with her playing career, and just knew a lot about her. Didn't know her well personally. I knew her, but I didn't know her well. But I knew of her a lot, and I knew what other people said about her, and I just felt like she'd be a perfect fit. So she was my first call as soon as that opened up too. And she took it right away, and it's just been it right now we have a staff in place that's just awesome. I always say I don't do nothing. I don't have to do nothing. I just turn it over to them and let them do everything.
All right. Let me ask one more philosophical question before we get to the actual team, because you said something earlier when we were talking about talent evals that I just can't get out of my head, so I got to ask the question. We find this a lot, and I know for a guy that coached NAI and a guy that's coaching in the Summit League, I know you had to learn this lesson the hard way at some point, and I'm just curious how that process went for you. You talked about super talented players that maybe aren't a good fit that you have to say no to. At what point did you learn that lesson? Because I think it's happened to all of us.
Yeah. I don't know if I've learned it yet, Ravi. You go out there and you watch some of them players and it's like, holy cow, they're good, right? And it's hard to say no or not recruit someone like that. Probably at Midland. I think at that level, maybe even you might even force it just a little bit more when you got a chance to get a difference maker, right? So probably there. And it's something I'm still learning, to be honest. It's still a hard no, right? It's a hard no to say when you see those type of players, but you do learn at some point. I don't know if there was one exact point. I think it's accumulation of things, but you do learn that sometimes that can be a net negative if you're not careful about it.
My little girl comes home the other day, and she's just enamored with the atmosphere, and it's kind of circusy for her. She can't believe how many people are there so close to home, and she's seen plenty of Mavs baseball games there. Did you at what point did you think, okay, this could be a place that could be the standard for what it is that we're trying to accomplish? You've got the facilities. You've already talked about the leadership. We're going to get to this talented roster. At what point did you think where you were playing in this city was going to be a thing?
Well, when I took the job, that was the hope, right? I mean, you don't take the job if you don't think that's possible. But I would say year two. I would say year two, you really start thinking, okay, we've got the leadership in place in terms of the university and the athletic department. And then you kind of start realizing that the type of recruits that you want are listening to your message. And once you start feeling that, okay, I think we can get the players in here, the type of people, not just players, but the type of people that we need in this program to build something that's consistent. Then you really start thinking, I think we got something going here. The goal year one was always, let's go compete for Summit League championships. I always thought that we could be competitive, at least in the Summit. We could build something here to do that. And then you kind of see what's going on. You think, that's always the priority. We always want to top priority compete for a Summit championship, but you kind of start thinking, I think we can build something maybe even above that a little bit. So probably year two, when you kind of see things coming together, and that the girls out there that are looking at different schools are willing to listen to you and buy into what you're doing. And then you kind of go from there.
All right. The other, Ravi was talking about, or you guys were talking about your recruiting right up. That you got the Nebraska base, you sprinkle in a little Kansas in that area. But, I mean, California has been, you've struck gold there, especially with Bailey. What's the connection there? And kind of why is California the one kind of outlier when we look at your recruiting profile?
Yeah, there's just so much talent in that state softball wise. So I don't think you can ignore it. We will always, I would say I would be shocked if 80% of our roster isn't always Nebraska and Midwest kids, but we will always look at California and look at the South a little bit for girls that we think can come in and add something and fit. And holy cow, Bailey's been awesome. There was a connection there. So Sydney Thomason, who had played for us the last 2 years, also a California girl, knew Bailey a little bit from club ball and all that, and made that connection. And, I do always ask, I love to recruit players that know someone on the team or who was on the team, because we can get a little feedback from them in terms of, okay, is this kid really a fit? What's she like on the field? What's she like off the field? Is she really a fit? So you try to do all you can in terms of recruiting and getting to know them, but there's still only so much time you see them and talk to them in the recruiting process. So to have players, know someone and speak to them and say, yeah, this kid's a perfect fit, that helps a lot. And that's especially those California kids, right? We maybe get out to 1 or 2 tournaments and evaluate them on the field and talk to them on the phone and try to get to know them a little bit. But it's even harder to get to know those type of players in terms of, are they going to fit our program? And so Sydney knew her and said she's a perfect fit for you. And she was absolutely right, man. Bailey is just taken to our culture and just exceeded expectations.
Probably a little bit easier of a recruiting eval might have been the Groff twins, right? Probably, obviously, right here close to home. But you ask one about the other and be like, well, that's my pitcher, that's my catcher. You've got not only one of the best pitchers in the Summit League, but one of the best pitchers in the country. That's such a unique dynamic to have the sisters form the battery there. Like, at what point did you realize, as you're either recruiting them or as they get into your program, they're like, oh, this could actually work at this level?
Yeah. Obviously I recruited them out of high school, and they were kind of in a spot where they wanted to get away from home and go try something else, and completely respected that. I've known Maddie and Rylan since I think 10 years old. When they got into club ball and started all that process, I met with her mom and dad, and they had some questions about which way to go, and they got in the Nebraska Gold program right away, and kind of even helped coach that team just a little bit at times. So I've known them forever, and completely respected their decision out of high school that they wanted to just get away and go try something else. And then a year later, I saw their name pop up on the portal, and I could not get my phone up and dial it fast enough. I promise you that.
I'll just come on back.
Yeah, we got a spot.
That's fascinating too, because you're thinking Southern Illinois coming back to Omaha. We've been to Carbondale, and it's like, but then it's home, right? So it's not necessarily the automatic enticement of, hey, this is a better environment. And still sometimes, and I hear this a lot with coaches. Coach Rule talks about this all the time. It takes a certain in-state player to handle in-state expectations when your program is at the front and center, right? Have you noticed that when you're recruiting?
It's different, right? It's different.
He thinks it's understated.
I 1000% agree. It's some pressure there if you allow it to be. Those two handle it so well. I mean, they just don't let any of that outside stuff impact them at all. Just so impressed with how they've handled it and what they did when they came back. But it is 100% understated, and it is 100% something that you need to be aware of in that situation.
Last one for me here, Coach. Obviously the result didn't go the way you wanted it to, but just talk about the other night with the atmosphere, with Nebraska coming to town and getting just like, there has to be sort of a moment there where you're just like, yeah, we got a game to play, but also like, this is pretty cool.
It was unbelievable. The scheduling this year was set up. We always play a home and away with Nebraska every year, and it was actually our year to go down there this year.
Just pretty cool.
And Rhonda called me, I don't know, when we were doing the scheduling and said, hey, we've got an open weekend earlier. I think it was in March. Would you guys want to come down here and play a doubleheader, and then we'll flip it and come to you guys in April? And as good as they are, I was dumb enough to jump on it.
Dude, that's awesome.
Still don't know about that decision, but it worked out. It worked out just perfect for us. And you know what? Hats off to Coach Ravel too, because she understands the impact of what that is on the state in terms of the softball community and all of that. She understands what that does to help us and our program and get exposure and all of that. So hats off to her for doing that. But it was unbelievable. I mean, I know we expected a big crowd, but I don't know if anybody expected that. It was so cool for both teams. It was cool for the fans. And that's I told the players that's one they're going to remember for a long time.
Coach, I get you out here on this. I know you got to get ready for NDSU. Did you think that you've done this a long time? You started again local, right? I'm looking at facilities and driving past parks. We travel a ton, so I see what other states are doing for their ball, bat, sports. Do you ever think you'd get to this point in like 2026 where we wouldn't really make the comparison between softball and baseball facilities around town? Softball is gotten a ton better in terms of places to play and what they look like aesthetically. And now it's like the guys playing baseball are like, hey, wait a minute, like we need better here. Like it's just kind of interesting to watch the positions change as the sports are elevated.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because back when I was in club ball, it wasn't like that. I think Omaha, the area in general, was a little behind in terms of facilities. We would travel to Kansas City or Des Moines or St. Louis or wherever, and Omaha was behind. And I think just the popularity of the sport has just continued to grow overall, and I think that's contributed to it. And some of the investments locally have been great to upgrade those facilities and give these teams a place to play. So that's just that's the community as a whole supporting it, I think.
All right, last one. How closely are you? I know you're one game at a time, but your big picture too. You're looking at seeding potentially and spots for the postseason.
Yeah. So we're actually in Grand Forks, not Fargo. So even worse.
Yes. Yeah, you got just North Dakota. Just North Dakota.
Yeah, just North Dakota. But yeah, you know me. I'm going to say we're going to look at today's game and finish that out. You knew I was going to say that, right? But no, we've did the math. We know. You know what? We're in a position this year, and typically our league's a one bid league, right? You got to go win the Summit tournament if you're going to make the postseason, and we're in a little bit of a position this year where we're actually keeping an eye on RPI. I think we're on that spot right now where an at-large bid is not impossible for us. So it's a little different in terms of how we're managing things and what we're looking at there. And honestly, I don't like to do it, but I think we're in a spot where we're not just looking at, okay, what do we got to do to finish out this regular season and win that regular season title, but also maybe keep ourselves in a little bit of a position RPI to be considered there.
Let's go.
Well, enjoy your weekend in North Dakota. When you get back in the office, say hi to my guy Evan Porter when you get back down there. And
it's just another Millard North guy honking for Millard North.
That's right. That's right. Yep. So yeah, I appreciate what you guys do. You guys are awesome. I listen every morning when I can, and love what you're bringing to the sports community here. It's great.
I appreciate you, Coach. Thanks for the time.
We bet. Appreciate it.
Have a good trip. That is Coach Mike Hurd.
The Kia Summer Sticker Sales event is on at Edwards Kia. Lease the 2026 Kia Sportage Hybrid S all-wheel drive starting at $299 a month. Edwards Kia is on a winning streak. This June, the savings are as big as the season. We've also got the 2027 Kia Telluride S all-wheel drive starting at $469 a month. Don't wait. Slide into savings with the Edwards Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event. Slide into savings at Edwards Hyundai. Finance the 2026 Hyundai Santa Fe at 0% for 72 months. This June, the savings are as big as the season. We've also got the 2026 Hyundai Kona SE all-wheel drive. Sign and drive starting at $287 a month with 0 down. Don't miss this pitch. Slide into savings at Edwards Hyundai. It's time to slide into savings at Edwards Nissan. Lease the 2026 Nissan Rogue Platinum starting at $379 a month, a platinum lease worth driving home. This June, the savings are as big as the season. We've also got the 2026 Nissan Pathfinder SV starting at $399 a month while supplies last. Don't miss your pitch. Slide into savings at Edwards Nissan.
I've made a lot of good decisions in my life. Perhaps the best lately is just being a part of what NextGen is doing, from, testosterone to peptides to hydration, just to overall health and well-being. NextGen has been fantastic for me. They accept most insurances, so they make it really, really easy. And I'm always, listen, I'm not the most fun to get along with, but these guys have been fantastic. It's not just a DB thing. It can be you too. Visit the folks at NextGen, 402-614-9700.
We are joined now by Krista Wood, the head softball coach at Creighton. Coach, how are we doing this morning?
Doing good. We're getting ready for our game today. We're super pumped. We're excited to be here.
There she is. Look at you in sporting that blue. How are you?
I know. Isn't it crazy? Doing good. It's been a long road, but here we are. We're the top 4 up in the Big East at Rosemont, and we're in Chicago playing at the Rosemont Field where Athletes Unlimited play. We're excited. We got UConn first round, so it'll be a battle.
I can't tell you how pumped I am. I haven't told the guys the backstory with our relationship, but you can vouch for me, though. I've been honking for softball long before it was as popular as it is now. Krista used to run a camp for little guys and gals that we had. It was called Pacific Pals. And I'm just telling you, I don't know where I went wrong, Coach, but like you've got a Division I program as the head coach. Jake Peets in Lincoln is an offensive coordinator for the Seahawks. Garth Glissman is like a development director for the SEC. Kenny and Taiwo Anatolu are like doing big things. Like I can find good people. How come I just couldn't have turned out to be one myself?
Shoot, we had a blast working those camps. Those camps are so much fun.
You could see right away, and you were kind of overseeing. Well, you had your staff, which were your peers.
Yep.
But then she had young people too, like kids. I'm telling you, you could see leadership traits. When did you know you wanted to coach?
You know, my dad was a baseball coach growing up, and I kind of grew up on the baseball field. And I was thinking I was going to get my summers off and coach high school and do all that, you know, but here I am. I don't get my summers off because I'm out recruiting. But I just, you know, I love the game. I love being around people. I feel like I'm addicted to building a team every year and coaching them to the best of their ability and trying to win a championship. It's just fun and exciting because every year is a different journey. Every year is different. This is the third program I've been a part of. And it's kind of been a rebuild everywhere I've been. And so there's a different journey and a different story with every place.
There's a couple things there. Obviously, I want to get to the rebuild and kind of the turnaround at Creighton, but I have to start with DB knows if there's anybody that kind of rides with Omaha, that's where I'm going to start with somebody, right? So obviously you played at the University of Nebraska, Omaha, and like you said, you thought you were going to be a high school coach. You coached I know you coached for a couple years at different high schools here locally, went off, had all the success at South Dakota State. Why come back to Creighton after you had gotten it rolling up there and gotten that program to a place where you guys were really, really good on a year in, year out basis? Why take the challenge of coming back to Omaha here and take over a Creighton program that frankly had been struggling?
Yeah, I mean, I loved my time up in South Dakota. It was great. I mean, Nebraska softball, I mean, you see it with Nebraska, you see it with Omaha. It's hard to pull kids up north. And I think that recruiting to the city of Omaha and what Creighton is building down there was just something that I was like, I think I can really do something with this. The new facility that we have, we're getting a new indoor. It's just a really exciting time to be at Creighton. And I could see the vision of, you know, when I'm at South Dakota State, I'm thinking, you know, I feel like I've done a lot with nothing. And I feel like I've tapped this out in the fact that what we had for facilities and just the climate up there and the league that we were in, I just felt like, you know, I've done a lot. And when jobs come about, it's not always the best timing. Now, if I could have stayed up there for a couple more years and coached those kids, I definitely would have. But when this job opened up, I mean, when coaches come here, they stay. So for me, it was like, this is my opportunity to, you know, jump on board with this, try to turn it around and get this thing really, really rolling.
We follow you guys, and we're always looking at rosters and composites, and I'm trying to fit. Well, a lot's changed because, I mean, that was late. That was early 2000s when I first met you. And obviously, you grow into things. When you're recruiting, the rosters, it's eclectic. What are you looking for as you've kind of developed your coaching style, regardless of where they come from? What are you looking for?
I mean, we're looking for kids that want to grind, that, you know, some kids just want to go to the big flashy who's winning right now, but who wants to put in the work, who wants to get this thing rolling, and who wants to do something that hasn't been done here, which is win a Big East title. And it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody to say, hey, I'm going to take a chance on this team. I'm going to take a chance on this coach, rebuilding this program. But there are kids out there. We have one right now we have a couple seniors that have been here. This is my fourth season, so they've been here for all 4 years and helped us get this program back on the map. we're looking for athletic kids that that obviously value our standards and expectations of what we're asking for in them.
How much does the type of kid that you're, I don't want to say forced to recruit, right? You said a lot of kids want to go to the big flashy programs that are winning right now, or going to, Women's College World Series and things like that. Obviously, Creighton's in a different place than that right now, so it opens you up to a different recruiting pool. How much does that actually help kind of the culture that you like to install or instill in your team, where it is, it sounds like you kind of like that a little bit of, I don't know, bootstrapping it, for lack of a better term, where it's like, yeah, we're going to do this the hard way and we're going to be better for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge. I mean, I love challenges. I think it's great. I love being the one, the small team knocking somebody off. Like I said, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. So, but I mean, here at Creighton, I feel like we can offer everything now. I mean, we can offer a great academics, get a Creighton education. We have great facilities. We have everything that you need, and we run our program like an SEC program. We play in the Big East. I think the Big East is super competitive. So we get all those things at a smaller level. And if you want to do something like that, I think it's a great opportunity.
Coach, I'm dying to know, what was the relationship pre-existing between bringing Garrett on staff? Like, I get the prowess at UNI, and maybe you're like, oh my God, these guys can really rake. But like, where did walk me through what you were looking for when you were putting your staff together?
Yeah, so I mean, we hit the long ball up at South Dakota State. That's kind of what we did. And so I was looking for somebody that I knew came from a program where they could rake, they could produce an offense. This year, we're not maybe hitting quite as many home runs, but we're top in the nation for stolen bases. We run the bases really well. I think we broke a school record for that, and I think we're going to break the Big East record for most stolen bases in a year. I think we're at 122 right now, which was in the top 3 in the nation at one point. But so we have a good combination of power and speed, but he does a great job of preparing our kids for competition, so series. He does a great job of figuring out what the best preparation is moving into each series and how we're going to attack these pitchers, which shows that we've broken our runs record 2 years in a row. We broke the doubles record. I mean, we're doing a lot of good things offensively, and I still think there's some great players still coming here that we're going to continue to keep pushing that number up.
Speaking of great players, obviously your team got recognized with 6 on the All Big East teams. You got Pearson and Mayhew getting individual honors as well. As you're either recruiting these players or developing them kind of through the system, obviously Mayhew is a freshman, so it's not more of a recruiting story there. What are you looking for? Are you looking for people you're like, hey, I think they can be all conference, or are you looking more kind of generally at an athletic profile?
Well, I mean, like Ashton Pearson's a great example. I recruited her up to South Dakota State, and she said, it's too far north. I can't go that far. But she's a little undersized, but man, she can play. And she's the 3-time defensive player of the year. She's a junior, and she's the first freshman to ever get it in the Big East. And so she was my first call when I got the Creighton job. I said, hey, I'm closer now than I was, and she still hadn't committed. So I said, Creighton's 3 hours closer than South Dakota State was. And, she was under recruited just because of her size, but she plays big, but she's small. So, I mean, just having 6 kids on all conference, which is the most they've had in the last 10, 15 years is awesome to show that all this hard work and the kids that we're bringing in are really making a difference.
Coach, you've always, as I've known, again, 20-some, you're so competitive. Like, how quickly did it take your team to see, I know it's in your household for sure, but how quickly did it take your team to see, like, okay, like the standard is going to be the standard just because of how you approach, like, your own life?
Yeah. I mean, when I came in, I mean, I think initially everyone's like, just because I'm standing in the third base box over there that we were going to win, it's like, okay, we got to start to get to work here. And what does that look like? And it took, a full year really honestly to kind of lay that foundation and culture of, when we were up at South Dakota State, we won because of these things and how we put these things. But I did realize, being the third program that I've taken over, I wasn't so much concerned about winning in year one, but more like laying the foundation and culture of what it takes to be that team and those players. And so if you look at my record, we didn't win more than we lost in year one, but in year 2, 3, and 4, I mean, we've made the Big East tournament, been in the top 3 in the championship game last 2 years, and hopefully we win it this year. But I think doing it that way, I learned from my first school to my second school. I was so wrapped up in wins and losses early that we didn't win quite right away. So I said, at Creighton, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to just really try to instill what it takes and not really care about wins and losses at the point. Now, I am competitive, yes. So it was hard, but I knew that was the right path to take.
Coach, when I'm always curious about this, right? Because I think that is the right path to take. Obviously, you're coaching at a much higher level than I ever did, but when you're like going through the process of getting the head coaching job at Creighton, like, do you tell the people in the room, you're like, hey, we may not win a lot year one? Like, is that something or do you keep that one a little closer to the vest? You
definitely ask, what are your expectations in the first, couple years? I mean, you ask that because if it is win, I mean, we got to approach this differently.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, you'll see, I mean, we do have a couple kids out of the portal, but they're young kids out of the portal that we can develop and that we can continue to help them grow and make us better. I mean, we got a kid right now playing second base that made all conference that was at Oklahoma State last year and didn't really get an opportunity. And this year she's leading our team in hitting and first team all conference. So she's a sophomore and we get her for 2 more years. So we're not just grabbing kids out of the portal for a quick fix. We're grabbing kids to develop.
Everybody's programs, especially as competitive as it is. We talked to Coach Ravel and Coach Hurd, who I think the world of, and my affinity for you, where it's so competitive within the state with the quality talent. Does that shape kind of where you want to centralize, or do you like the roster kind of as is, where, you know what, I trust our development, I trust I trust our eye for talent. Like, we're going to find whomever wants to be a part of what we're doing. Are there specifics?
I mean, I'll be honest, it is a tough time right now. Obviously, I want to get the best kids out of the state of Nebraska, like, period. I want to keep them in the state. I want them to be at Creighton. And it is a very tough time to be Creighton with the momentum of Nebraska and the momentum of Omaha the last 2 years, and with Jordy Ball at Nebraska and what they're doing, which is awesome because the state of Nebraska softball is elite right now. So with that being said, I feel like we're building behind the scenes a little bit, which I'm totally fine with. They have the momentum. They have some great players. But I will tell you here, we have some very, very good recruits out of the state of Nebraska coming here in the future. And I feel like we have gotten some of the best kids coming in the future in 26 and 27, and we'll continue to go in 28. But I want kids that want to be here. I love Midwest kids. I think the Midwest mentality is where it's at. But I mean, you always have to think outside the box a little bit. I mean, you really do. I mean, there's only so many kids and there's a pool of so much, but right now, I mean, I would say Nebraska in Omaha in my first couple of years probably did beat us out of some recruits early, but I feel like we're right on their tails at this point.
Literally, with the way that you played Omaha this year, I think 3 runs separate the 2 games. It has been a joy to watch. As you get ready for the conference tournament, you're playing at a high level at the right time. What's the scouting? What are we trying to accomplish right out of the gates with what you think you're getting in your opponent?
Yeah, UConn's tough, man. We had a really, really tough series with them at UConn. Um, uh, all games could have went either way. We lost 11-12. We beat them in game 2, and they beat us 4-2, which it was one hit with a single that scored 2 runs. Otherwise, it was tied going into the 7th. They can hit the long ball. They're a powerful team. So we're playing here, not that you know this, but at the Rosemont field, the fences are a little deeper than our typical field. So we're 210 down the line. They're 220. It's 230 to center here where we're 220. And so I think that's an advantage for us just because we don't quite hit the long ball as much as UConn does. So we really want to get the ball in the gaps out here and really run because I think we're fast. And we want to take some extra 60s so that we don't have to string 3 hits together. We just got to get 1 hit and a stolen base and another hit, and we've got to run. So it's going to be a big game. Our series was probably the most heated series of the year. And so we said, they may have won this battle, but we're going to win the war at the conference tournament because we know that we were probably going to face them being the 2 and us being the 3 seed.
I'll give you a chance to, we've talked about a couple individual players, but we talk about recruiting and kind of what you're looking for. Did you expect the kind of start and finish that Audrey Gilman had at such a young age in this conference?
Freshmen are tough. There's a lot. It's like, how do you learn? And I kind of thought about myself a little bit. My freshman year, I started off a little rough. I mean, coach was out there telling me, you're better than that. Like, let's go. But she's done a great job of really figuring it out and how to move the ball around. And I think early in the year, we were walking too many people. We were pitching around. We were given too many free bases. And she's realized now, like, hey, I can pound the zone a little bit, make my stuff work, and she's got a little bit more confidence moving forward. Getting first team all conference as a freshman pitcher, I mean, that's a great accomplishment.
Do you handle at all, especially with the freshmen, any differently in the tournament format? I know you guys have been pretty successful. You mentioned making championship games last couple years, but it's a very kind of different atmosphere than what they've experienced all year long, especially with the freshmen. Do you approach anything differently?
I feel like our series this year have been really, really intense, whether it was at Butler, at UConn, even at home. And playing Nebraska at home and Omaha, I feel like we've done a good job of preparing our kids for these moments. So I think we're ready, and I think our upperclassmen have done a great job of really trying to help them understand like what this is about and what it's going to look like. So I'm excited for it. I think that we've finished second the last 2 years, and it's a terrible feeling walking off that field. So, we're going all out this weekend.
It's funny. Get you out of here on something light. Maiden name, obviously, Unger. I joke. You said you grew up on a baseball diamond, around a baseball diamond. Dad's baseball coach. Your nephew
plays a little baseball.
Plays a little baseball down in Lincoln. How much time? Now listen, everybody wants the cool aunt, right? Like, how much time though can you actually take a peek at what Jay Sean's been able to accomplish in an impressive year?
The good thing is he's closing, so our games are over, and I can pull it up, and there he is. So, hey, I'll be honest with you. I've watched more Nebraska anything than I've watched till this year. So, I'm a Maverick at heart. But then so I'm really proud of him. He's called me a lot for just a lot of advice on just the mental game. Being a pitching coach, him being a pitcher, he's done a great job. Just watching him out there, he competes. He really does, and I think he's having a great season. And our games are over, and then I pull it up, and boom, he's coming in the 8th inning to shut it down. And so even when we played Nebraska at home for softball, our game got over, and I was able to head over to Schwab and watch him close it down, So I still wore my Creighton gear. We took a picture. He's in his Nebraska stuff. I'm in my Creighton stuff. I said, I won't wear the Nebraska stuff, but I will support you in Nebraska baseball. But I'm really proud of him, and they're having a great season.
Listen, it is so cool to watch because I do know your competitiveness, and there's a lot of coaching acumen in that house. So I'm like,
yeah,
oh my gosh, I hope everybody can kind of corral it. I am so proud of what you're doing, man. I'm wishing your young ladies the best. And anytime you have the fluorescent green light, Hurrdat Sports loves Creighton athletics.
All right. Well, we'll continue. Hopefully, we're at regionals and we can do something again. Otherwise, next season we're back on.
Listen, best wishes, and when you're in regionals,
yeah,
count on it.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Thank you.
Fridays are for big plays and even bigger bites at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Grab the Hail Varsity Burger Meal for just $12, stacked with all the classics and served up with game day energy. Pair it with your favorite drink, find your seat, and let the weekend begin. Friday nights belong to Hurrdat Sports Bar. We are joined now by the head coach of Troy baseball. Coach Meade, how are we doing this morning?
Fellas, I'm trying not to watch it anymore, but that audio in the back of old Madvick and old Cormier got me going again, so I don't need any more caffeine this morning. We're ready to roll.
Oh, it's so much fun. There's just history. And now that it's baseball, the Detroit, Nebraska correlation, the upset 10 years ago in football, the basketball thing, it is so cool to watch. I used to be a huge Neil Brown fan, and I coached a guy from Omaha North when I was coaching it. It ended up going to Detroit. But I say all that to say it's Omaha. I've said this forever. It's arguably the most difficult of the collegiate sports to win a national title. The setup with the regionals and then the supers and then the depth, man. Like, just start with your team's resolve, right? 38 and 30. Like, all the data's out there. You're not supposed to be here, except nobody told you guys. Like, you got to walk me through when you felt like this was going to be a thing.
Well, I'll give it to you a little bit. I knew when we talked about it in August 11 was our first meeting. I've referred to it many times. Like, I knew our team was insanely talented. Everyone knew that. Our players knew it. There was things in the fall that you go, okay, this is real. I reference back to, like, and fall games don't matter, but you asked a question, so I'm giving you a real answer. Like, we played a fall game against Kennesaw State. We drove over at like 5 a.m. Like, these fall games they don't mean anything, but they can show you things. And Kennesaw State's got an awesome program. And we went over there in a doubleheader, won 32-5. We hit 10 homers. We punched out 35 and walked 5. I had a scout, longtime scout I trust, Kevin Burrell, been in it forever. He's like, dude, you guys might be the best mid-major team I've ever seen in 33 years. I'm like, oh, wow. Thanks. But guess what? Things go on. You get to the winter break, things don't go as well. Maybe some guys come back not as confident or as prepared. And then you got in our schedule, and I know it's been talked about often, but we ended up playing the number one non-con schedule in the country, the 6th toughest overall. That's never even been done at the non-P4 level. And so there's some struggle that happens, right? We traveled a lot. We played literally in the SEC on the road all the time. We did a lot of things, but I think it hardened us. And I'm not going to profess to say maybe on a random April 23rd day, I'm like, yeah, we're going to go to Omaha. I'm not sitting here, but that's also not how our brains operate. We're very process oriented and being great on that given day. Now, I will tell you, as that regional was going, you could feel it, right? You could feel our guys have gotten to a different zone. Our guys are killers, man. Our guys act like football players. They're absolute maniacs. They love to compete. They are out of their mind, but they found what their sweet spot is competitively. And of course, what we've done the last 6 games, we've been our very best. And we set everything up this year with the mindset of let's be our best in May. And if we're our best in May, then we earn the right for June. And to be honest with you, nobody's earned the right for June more than us.
Coach, you kind of weave some things together there that I wanted to talk about. You talked about the tough non-con and how it hardened you guys. You talked about the regional and the competitiveness. when you're in it in that moment and you lose game one of the regional and you realize early that you've got a long path to get to where you want to go, how did those earlier season matchups help you in that moment, and B, just sort of the temperament of your team? Because a lot of times you lose that first one, you're like, oh God, we got an uphill battle.
I'll tell you, I was doing a thing earlier. I'll tell you exactly what I told our players, and I'll tell people till I'm blue in the face because it's the 100% truth. We got on that bus. Now, listen, we did not get back to the hotel till 2:42 a.m. after that Miami loss, which was a tough loss. It was a heck of a game. What a great program. But we lose, okay? And we got to play Ryder, who's got a heck of a team. So we're sitting on the bus. We do our scouting reports on the bus, just kind of a way to, like, hone in and be locked in. And so I told the guys, I said, hey, look, man, I know everybody's tired. It's like 9:40 in the morning. Everybody's spent. I get it. But there are 308 Division I teams. There are 244 teams in the country that would absolutely die to be in the position you are. Oh, we're a little tired. Oh, you know, we hate that we lost a tough game. Like, no, you're going to fight your butt off today, and you're going to do it for Troy. You're going to do it for yourself. You're going to do it because it's what you're supposed to do. It is the choice that you have, but it's the only choice. And if you do that, you'll earn the right for Sunday. And if you earn the right for Sunday, you have no idea what our team can do because there's nothing we can't accomplish. And I tell you what, those guys went out there and did it, and they played with great energy that Saturday. And we did what we did, beat Miami and then Florida that evening on Sunday. And obviously our finest hour at that point in time was the 10-2 victory over obviously one of the greatest programs in all of the land in Florida in front of about 7,000 people.
Yeah, it's fascinating. This people always talk to me. You know, my background is football. Baseball is actually my first love. I think it was the sport I always tell my family that I was better at. My kids don't believe me. I go back to your program early, right? You have guys like Shane Lewis. You had Brooks Bryan. You've had some fellas been ranked in the top 25. At what point in a sport like this, like baseball, where it is very process oriented, that you knew you had something you could build on because of the early success of the program?
Well, I kind of have what would someone deem delusional belief. So I've kind of believed this from the beginning. I do appreciate that there's some video evidence of that going around of what we said we would do 5 years ago. And I don't say that, I kid you not. I know you guys don't know me well, but I don't say that egotistically. I just really believe this is what we were going to do. And it was mandated. If you are one of our coaches, staff, or you're in our program, you will believe that this is going to happen. Now, it's not going to happen the first day you want or the first year you want or the second year, but we've believed this from the jump. This has been the absolute vision. So I'm not surprised. Am I, if you go, well, did you think that at 2:40 in the morning after you lost to Miami and, you know, you're okay. Yeah. Like that's a fair thing to question. We all question things, particularly in the sport of baseball, but, we knew we could get great players here. You know, you bring up Shane Lewis, like what a great story. Yeah. Like Shane Lewis, you know, goes to Mississippi State, goes JUCO, comes to us and has probably the greatest 2-month heater in, well, certainly in our program's history, but it was an all-time heater that he was on. And it's like, we feel like our culture is going to allow guys to be their very best. And that doesn't mean that you end up in Omaha because it's so hard, as you guys alluded to. It's the hardest. But I will say we're going to have enough talent every year. Look, I'm a huge hoops guy. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. So, like, we live and die with hoops. And I say this all the time. What I appreciate about the basketball coaches, right, in the world and their teams, okay, the Tom Izzo's, Patino, Self, Jay Wright, whatever. No matter what goes on during their season, you always get there in March and you go, hey, man, like, they got a chance. And my goal has always been, can we be a program that every year when it hits May, we're in the fight? Now, what happens, I don't know, right? Like, fate will take over, some luck slides in. I get it's really hard. But I just want to be in the fight come every May. And how do you do that? You have a great culture, you have great players, you understand what it is that your identity is. And we're not going to lose focus of that. And I think all 5 years we've done that. Guess what? Some things have worked out good. Some have worked out great. Some have worked out bad. Some have worked out to the greatest level in the history of the program. I don't know what's going to happen next. I know this. our guys aren't going to stop pushing forward and being the killers that they are when we get to compete on Friday. I do know that because our belief is through the roof.
Coach, you mentioned kind of being a delusional belief type person, and speaking as someone else who puts themselves in that category as well, he knows.
Yeah,
that's how we got here. I find it fascinating to kind of dig into people and their decision making when they think that way, right? So as you're deciding to come to Troy, was it a thing where you looked at the program and said, hey, based on what they do here, what they care about here, I think this is a good spot? Or was it more, hey, I believe in what I do and what we do. I think this can work anywhere.
Before I answer, I mean this 100%. I love it. That's like such a great question. That is such a great. So it was a combo, but here's why. Brent Jones, who was the athletic director that hired me, he was the one that, every day for 2 weeks we talked. We had met up one time in Atlanta for 4 hours after I was recruiting late into the night. And he explained his vision. I, in turn, gave my vision. Now, I'd never been a head coach, so my vision is a first-time vision. Let's just call a spade a spade. You can either take it in at face value, or you can go, is that a pitch? And my thing was, of course, I've always wanted to be a head coach, all right? But I would never say that, and I know the 4 people I worked for before would probably agree this. I was not head coach hungry, where I was going to just take any job to, quote, be a head coach, right? I wanted it to be the proper spot. Now, look, at the same time, beggars can't be choosers, right? I'm not going to sit here and go, hey, you know what job I would like as I'm a pitching coach at South Carolina? I'm going to wait till LSU opens. I'm going to go ahead and take that. That's just not how the world works, right? But I just felt with the new facility coming to Troy, the vision of our chancellor at the time, Dr. Hawkins, and of course, athletic director Brent, who I, alluded to, with the stadium coming, the location of Troy, the history of Troy, what I felt like myself and my group of people would bring to the table, I was confident we could do things. And I'll give you a funny story. So we lost. We went 1 for 42. We were bringing in every kid in the world that first fall, and we got no's and no's and no's. And oh yeah, hey, listen, it wasn't all sunshine and roses, trust me. But I give this, and I don't say that. Look, maybe I am petty, but I don't care.
You're talking to the king of petty to my right here, Coach.
You guys are probably picking this up the first 15 minutes. That I'm a receipt keeper, but there was a kid that we were recruiting hard, and he probably should have chose us just based on a multitude of reasons. Now, I'm not saying that you should. Every kid is entitled and family to what they do, and I never fault a kid for making a decision, but I felt like this is a great fit of this kid. And I remember the kid had said something when he chose another school, and it's funny how you can connect dots, but he was told by some people and some coaches he valued. They said, hey, I really like the new guys at Troy. I think that they will get it turned around, but it's going to take them a while. And we said, okay.
Yeah.
And we remembered that. And when this thing flipped like that, we said, we got to keep that, as I had said in a press conference at the end of my first year, we believe we're a rocket ship and we are going to absolutely rocket quick. You just better make sure you hold on. And I've always believed that. And I'm not saying we're perfect, because we're not. There's still a bunch of things we can do better in our program. But I also didn't tell lies.
Let me connect the dots here, just because baseball is such a tight-knit community, and everybody knows somebody. And of course, you got the opportunity to work for Coach Kingston, who is right down the street from us at Creighton now. And I think that first year in 18, South Carolina did make the regionals the previous year. The very next year, you guys are playing in the supers. It's 2018. I think you left in you started in 2020. You left in 2021. Talk to me a little bit about, because Coach Kingston has some similar thought processes. I listen to his pressers a lot. He's got a ton of history. I know he stole you from Michigan State. What's kind of the correlation there, if any, with Coach Kingston and what you learned previously when you were at South Carolina?
Well, I've known King a long time. I was at Eastern Illinois in 2009, and we were really good. We were nationally ranked at Eastern Illinois, which if you go back in the Rolodex of schools being ranked, that's a wild time. But we were awesome. And King was the head coach in waiting in 2009. And we played against Illinois State, and we beat them like we were beating everybody that year. And when he became the head coach, I actually reached out and I said, hey, I would have great interest in your pitching job. And he's like, hey, man, I appreciate you calling. And what you guys are doing there is awesome. But I got a guy. And I'm just telling you, there's nothing to converse on. I got a guy. I said, oh, okay, awesome. Like, I had to reach out because, you know, I think highly of you, what you did at Tulane, and I think you guys are going to do good, whatever. So that was our initial deal. And then, you know, you play against each other. You compete against each other when he's in Illinois State. When I was at Michigan State, we went down to play at South Florida when he got that thing rolling. And of course, I'm so fortunate that, you know, he hired me in the fall of 17, obviously going into the 18 season that you alluded to, where we lost in game 3 to that great Arkansas team in the Supers in front of about 14,000 people, but we pushed them to the brink. But what I will tell you is you learn stuff from everybody you work for, whether you even know it at the time. And I've always, listen, I've been a Mark Kingston fan for a long time, not because I worked for him. That's a thing that I tell people, like, I followed how King was with everything long before I was working with him. And, you know, he's charismatic. He's, you know, big, strong, good looking dude. You know, we all laugh. He goes in the weight room and he just does bench and he does pull downs and he walks on the treadmill. And we're like, I had a couple coaches this year that, you know, played against him and they're like, dude, he's huge. Like,
big dude.
I go, yeah, he's kind of an animal. And I was like, his workouts are so boring. Like, that's all he does. He's like, I hope he hears this too. You guys got to send him the clip because he's gonna get mad because I'm busting his chops, and then he's gonna go, well, that is kind of true. But no, look, you know, him and Coach Current. I mean, Coach Current became he and our family. I mean, my kid literally goes to sleep last night so excited to see Coach Current, his daughter he hasn't seen in, you know, 5 years when we're out there in Omaha. So, you know, Billy Mole, like, our connections with King and his people have been very long standing. And I never forget when people take a chance on you. And let's be honest, in the hiring world, you're always taking a chance, right? I might be, and I'm speaking to but you can fill in any person. I or anyone might be well respected and have produced, but you don't know until you work with somebody how it's going to go. That is just a fact of life. But what I will say is, I appreciate King, but I've appreciated King for a long time before he, you know, quote unquote, signed my checks. And it's gonna be really cool to see him. You know, he sent me some really nice messages over the last couple of days. And yeah, I mean, it sounds a little hokey, but I hope he's really proud of what we're doing, you know, because I'll say this on the air. This is kind of crazy, but as you can tell, I'm an open book. One thing about King that I always wanted to do, just from the moment I met him a long time ago, I wanted to impress him. I don't know why that is, probably because I think highly of him. And I guess one of the things that I hope with us going out there is he can go, yeah, all right, you impressed me a little bit.
Let me ask you something. This is fascinating. This goes back to kind of the degree of difficulty that I think it is to win a championship, just the sport of baseball, right? You're on offense. You don't have the ball. I talk about this all the time. Just it's the most difficult of the true skill team sports. And Creighton Sports Information Director Rob Anderson, he's fantastic. Does a lot with hoops, but during the CWS he's like the hub of information. You know, he's tweeting out, you know, 23 of the 24 teams are new the last 3 years. All the data on just how difficult it is to get to Omaha. The scholarship limits have increased for some, going from 11.3 to or 11.7 to what your school can afford, basically. It's changed. It's hard to get here. What, if any, have you noticed are the differences in how you need to construct and build rosters and kind of this new fluid era of college baseball where if you have it, you can spend it. But philosophically, it seems like it's some new things to navigate. What's that been like as you've learned the process?
I'll steal a phrase from Nolan Kane, the recruiting coordinator, third base coach for Texas, who obviously will be out here. He says in this era, no matter how many good portal guys you can get, you still have to have studs that are from the high school ranks. And the reason you have to have that is you need the guy who is the known commodity at your school that is the superstar, that the next portal kid says, oh, I can go fit there. I can go be a star there. But that's because I'm walking into other dudes. Portal guys don't say, hey, me and 7 other of the greatest buddies are jumping on this train just because. They do it because there's other great players there. Paul Skeens goes to LSU, but Dylan Cruz is already there, right? You know, and look, for us, it's why we've still made sure to recruit great. Look at our core sophomores who, you know, Noah Thigpen, Jimmy, you know, and Cody Markham. Like, those guys are all true sophomores. And, you know, we had the kid who got the last out on Friday in game 1 of the Super, freshman. You know, same thing in the regional, the first Florida game, freshman, the Rider game, freshman. We have to have the ability for people to go, now listen, they got Brooks Bryan, he's Team USA, da-da-da-da-da. I want to play with that guy. That, to me, you still have to do. And if you just only transfer it, I think it can be very hard to be repeatably good. Now, can it connect for 1 year? Heck yeah, it can. But to be a program, which we strive to do, I think you got to make sure that you have those internal in-house guys. Doesn't mean you have to have 30 of them, but you got to have some.
Such personality. Watch you guys play. Now listening to you, and the authenticity. Your team has a lot of your personality. At least, like they don't blink. Pre-battle tested. Very dismissive of like what people say about the. Like you can just tell your team has your confidence. At what point does that supersede the fact that it is Omaha, and we've seen some teams that have kind of some of these success stories where it doesn't translate once they get to Omaha? Like, what is it that you think is the ultimate trump card and why you can have some success here?
Well, I will say you don't know till you know. If I see us practice tomorrow night at the high school practicing at, or Thursday, and we can't catch a ground ball and we look like a mess, then I'll be like, whoa, we might be in trouble. I'll give you guys like the heads up, like, hey, don't turn on the TV, boys. It's going to look ugly. I doubt that's going to happen with our guys, but I think, to me, obviously I'm not saying we have a trump card, because the other 7 teams are all amazing, okay? But what I would say is and you hit it, and I really appreciate you saying it. How we believe and how we talk, we are genuine, and it's not a braggadocious. It is not like we're holier than thou. No, we really believe it. Now, we could lose like anyone, but what I'm telling you guys on here in the last 25 minutes, like, I believe that wholeheartedly. Like, I'm not blinking, because I believe it, and our players are that same way. And I said to our guys yesterday, listen, sometimes I'm the one that has the mic in front, and so I'm perpetuating what you guys are. Like, I'm the conduit to that, right? Like, you can't go, like, there's not enough time in the day. You can't go interview our 33 players. Like, okay? So I understand my responsibility is to continue to perpetuate what we are, but that image and that confidence is not fake. And so we will be as prepared as we can be. Does that mean that you go out and you play your best game Friday? No, it does not mean that. But I know that we will be in the best headspace, we'll be in the best physical space, and we're definitely going to walk in there and be exactly who we are. That I can tell you. You know, like, we'll do. Blake Cobble's not going to, he's not going to shut up talking to the umpire and the first base coach at first, because he loves to talk. Josh Pine's going to be competitive as can be. I'm going to try to probably dive for a foul ball, because I like to run around and catch foul balls at third base. Like, Coach Wolgamont's probably going to get angry at something. Like, we're all going to be who we are. And I mean, I'm not life lesson guy, but if you can be exactly who you are every day, don't you think that makes life pretty easy?
Yeah, it's so fascinating. And we see it. We talk about this a lot with like World Championship baseball and styles of play and protocol and demeanor. Baseball players historically are, them in hockey, very, very superstitious. They like protocol. But this game has changed so much with these big personalities, right? I see, Texas do their best Juan Soto, Nomar Garciaparra before they get in the batter's box, and George is constantly chirping. You guys, very demonstrative in terms of how you believe. Have you seen the game take on more of a personality of its own? It used to kind of be this staunch kind of old guys game. It is far from that in 2026.
I have, and parts of it I don't like, but what I would say, and I can only speak to us, I control one program. I do not listen, and listen, we get hit with like 18 million sportsmanship things in the NCAA tournament. Our guys are all about our guys, all right? We're about the boys, all right? Like, I'm not telling you we haven't had a moment where a guy doesn't yell something back at another team, okay? No one's perfect. But what I will tell you is the moment that our guys are saying something, there's like 4 coaches that are like crazed dogs yelling at them to stop. And I believe respecting the game still matters. I do think that obviously the world of baseball is, I think I call it the social media effect. It's like, what can I do that's going to get kind of crazy on there? I'm not saying I love all of that, but I will say personality does matter, right? So I think there's a blend, but sometimes guys get misunderstood. Like, look, I mean, one of the kids I've known for a long time that I think is very misunderstood, Trey Phelps at Georgia. That kid's awesome, man. He's one of the best kids ever, right? That kid's awesome. And if you got to know him.
Not afraid to dialogue either.
No, Trey's the man. He's awesome. Now, look, like people want to go down debate. Well, are you advocating? Okay, look, maybe you got too excited on something. But like, if you know, like, do you know Trey? I know Trey. I know what that kid is, right? I know when I'm coaching third and we played there twice. First thing I said, I'm like, well, Trey, you didn't bring me my chain? Like, where's my ass? You know, like, Trey's awesome. But like, I think that sometimes people can get misunderstood, but sometimes people do it for the wrong reasons. And yeah, I wish that didn't happen, but you know what? It's still entertainment. This is still sports, and it's supposed to be entertaining. And college baseball is doing a good job of it, man. It's why you guys have me on.
One of the things that I've seen, and I love it, and the ballpark plays differently, obvious, than a lot of the smaller ballparks, but athleticism has changed dramatically in the last 5-6 years. Just, you know, going first to third and home to second, and, you know, the corner outfielders can now run, and these big, strong guys. I looked at Oregon up close playing Nebraska or Ole Miss, like just big baseball teams. Has your recruiting profile changed over time to match how the game's athleticism has grown too?
Yeah, you got to be a beast. You got to throw hard. You got to hit the ball hard. And you got to look the part when you get off the bus. No, I mean, I don't think that's changing. That's what the best do. We strive to be the best. So, you know, that's why we lift all the time. We're about to lift here in a minute. I may have to hop off with you guys because we're about to go get yoked.
It's a good-looking baseball team.
Yeah. No, like, listen, you're not going to go, look at these dweebs. These dudes are absolute psychos. You know, it doesn't mean that they're not going to swing and miss at a breaking ball on Friday, but they're going to look the part in that uniform, you know? I mean, but I think that's a piece of the puzzle, you know? And guess what? You can't be confident if you don't do it. We work out and cut off T-shirts. Why do we do that? Because I want our guys the ones that look good, I want them to feel confident. And the ones that don't look the part, I want them to see what they need to work on. And that we've done that since day one. And that's part of like the culture that we have, and our guys are bought into that. And, you know, that's not going to change. But like, listen, all those teams in Omaha, they got strong dudes. Now, I will tell you, those Oregon uniforms make those dudes look really good. That I don't disagree with. My wife said, and I will have to go to this workout, boys, so I do have to. My wife says, you like those uniforms? I was like, they're bright and everybody looks yoked. I do. Okay? So
it won't take long. You're going to be a favorite. Our listeners, our streamers, everybody's in on Troy, man. The authenticity is fantastic, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, we appreciate it.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Anything you ever need, please do not hesitate. And you enjoy, and it'll be a lot of fun out there. And go Trojans.